I do. I feel pretty disgusting, actually. So I've come in here to sacrifice Boxing Day dinner, because that generally is even worse for me.
Yes, I imagine it is. Look, let's get to the game this evening. Man City, this season, they haven't been free-flowing, free-scoring, exciting, entertaining. But look, you can paint the league table in lots of ways. They're 8 points off top. They've played one game less, so it's not been a total disaster, but certainly not hitting the heights. Why not?
No, because this is a rebuild. And what's really interesting about this City team is that this is the first time that Guardiola has had to rebuild a team. You know, Barcelona, he never really had to rebuild it. Bayern Munich, he certainly didn't. This is the first time, really, in Pep's career, he's had to rebuild a team. He's going to lose Aguero as well. He can sign a pre-contract with another team next week. It'd be interesting to see where he goes. And like I say, I think this is... I trust him to be able to do the job and the people above him, but they are going to suffer while it's going on, and you only have to look at the amount of goals scored. You're right, this isn't a free scoring City team. 19 goals. They're in 9th position. Every single one of the teams from 1st to 8th has scored more goals than them, which is, you would never have thought that at the start of the season. Sergio
Aguero has not scored in the Premier League since January 21st. That was a 1-0 victory against Sheffield United. Of course, injured for so much of that time, but he's still here, nominally, coming back from another injury to his knee at the moment. Are you surprised then, given the injuries that he's had, the lack of fitness and all of that, that they didn't invest in a centre-forward during the summer transfer window, and indeed discussions now are not about signing a striker in January?
No, I think they're going to make do. I think with Aguero, look, you know, it catches up with all of us. To have the longevity that he's had in a league like the Premier League, which is physical, it's fast, it takes a toll on your body, and he's been sensational. I love watching him, but it catches up to all of us in the end, and they're going to miss him. They're going to miss him badly. I think they've tried to give Jesus a run of games, and I think the vibe is that actually, you know what, this maybe isn't the long-term successor. In the summer, I'm sure they'll do something.
Yeah, he's certainly a good striker with a very good record, but there aren't many with the kind of record that Sergio Aguero, a legitimate phenomenon of a footballer, could possibly have. I think he's 4th highest in the Premier League all-time goal scorers list with 180. He's behind Andy Cole, Wayne Rooney, Alan Shearer, and that's it. So, you know, one of the all-time greats is going to be very tough, if not impossible, to replace. What about the mantra from Pep Guardiola saying, well, if we want to challenge, what we've got to do is win, win, win? He does have that win at all costs kind of mentality throughout his career, but we're not seeing a win at all costs City.
No, we don't, because I'm not sure when Manchester City actually come out the traps, they can be scintillating. There's too many times where I look at City's first 11 and then I look at the bench and I think, well, the bench looks better. And I see that so many times. Obviously, look, you know, he likes to tinker, he likes to move the players around, and he's got a big squad. Everyone has to get a game, and he trusts those players. But every now and again, you just have to give your team a run rather than chopping and changing, and let them get into some kind of a rhythm, because ultimately that helps everybody.
And just finally to Newcastle, we'll talk more about them later. We had this discussion so many times about Newcastle, I don't really have a new question on it, but I'll give it to you as I do to everyone else. From the outside, people like me think Steve Bruce is doing a good job. From the inside, the fans hate him. They hate the team. They don't want to watch it, even though they only watch it on their sofas and online and hear it on the radio. They still don't want to watch this Steve Bruce side. Do you get it?
Yeah, well, I think football is, for the fans, they like to dream, all right? Everyone likes to dream. Everyone likes to believe that we can do a Leicester, you know, if all the stars and planets line up. Maybe if, you know, that could be us. And you're probably not going to get that with Steve Bruce. And it's a bit like if you go over to Merseyside and you look at Ancelotti, and the fact that Everton have brought him in, they start to dream, and there's a vibe around the place. I just think these Newcastle fans, you know, Steve Bruce doesn't make you dream, does he?
No. Good point, well made. They dream a dream of times gone by to Newcastle United. These days, the fans are just les miserables. Listen, we've got to take a break. When we come back, we'll get team news from our other game that kicks off at 8 o'clock UK time. That's Sheffield United against Everton, and we'll talk about the Blades' recent issues too. Andrew herself will have the team news shortly, and we'll continue the build-up to Man City against Newcastle, which kicks off in around about 20 minutes from now. You're listening to Premier League Live.
This Christmas, get all the non-stop Premier League action with a Now TV, Sky Sports or Sports Extra pack. Watch over 40 games this December with the biggest names in the league.
Gets it from Fernandez.
Stream every game or only pay for the ones you want. Your sport on your terms with Now TV. 18 plus ROI only. Month passes sold separately and auto-renew. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Terms apply.
Introducing Guardson Sport. Protect your sporting equipment from COVID-19 for up to 14 days with Guardson Sport Disinfectant Treatment. Ideal in team Sport Disinfectant Treatment. Ideal in team sport settings with the sharing of balls, rackets, gloves, helmets and all other sporting equipment. Guardson Sport kills COVID-19 on impact, keeping surfaces free from COVID-19 and other viruses and bacteria for up to 14 days by creating a protective polymer layer on application. For more information on Guardson Sport and other quality assured, certified and approved PPE, visit yourcovidprotection.com.
Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen.
Let's talk about you looking after your business. Ford, looking after your vehicle. Let's talk hassle-free Ford leasing. Just a fixed monthly payment, no motor tax to deal with, and no maintenance or servicing to pay on selected plans. Get the Ford Ranger Wildtrak from €440 per month. Hassle-free Ford lease. Now we're talking. Search Ford lease or text Ford to 50015 to speak to us about leasing your next vehicle.
Text cost to standard rate. Price quoted is for a Ranger Wildtrak with no maintenance over 4 years with a €1,750 deposit. 15,000 kilometres per annum. Business users only. Price excludes VAT. Ford lease is provided by Marion Fleet Management, trading as Ford Lease.
123ink.ie for all your home office needs, including printers, ink, toners, paper, label markers, binders, pens, bins, batteries, boxes, chalk, compass, files, memory sticks, highlighters, glue, notepads, Whoa! And we're cheaper than your current supplier. 123ink.ie for home, for office, for less.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Paddy Power gave to me another 12 days of Christmas parody. On the day after Christmas, Paddy Power gave to me on any sport a bet for free. Sorry, what I'm trying to say is Paddy Power giving away a free €5 bet on any sport this St. Stephen's Day. Now that's music to my ears. Merry Christmas from Paddy Power. Online exclusive. New customers must deposit 1 bet per customer. Opt-in required. Excludes in-play markets. T's and C's apply. Need help? Visit gamblingcare.ie.
You're listening to Premier League Live, and our final pair of games on this Boxing Day here in the UK, just Saturday for everyone else really. We've got Man City Newcastle for you. Tom Money and Dave Kitson, your commentary team. Headlines from the team news: one change for City from their last league game. Walker drops out. He's had a positive COVID test this week. Nathan Ake comes in. No Gabriel Jesus in the squad for the same reason. For Newcastle, looks like they're resting players from Man City away. Leading goal scorer Callum Wilson, who's been involved, I saw earlier today, in 67% of their goals this season, either scored them or set them up. He has been dropped. Joelinton plays up front in what looks like, you could say 5-4-1. For me, I'm going to say 9-0-1. So that's our game. We'll refocus on this as we count down to kick-off. About 20 minutes from now it gets underway. Also at the same time, we have Sheffield United up against Everton, the Blades, on the worst ever start in the history of all football in England, going back 150 years when the ball was made from a pig's bladder. That's how bad they have been. The good news is for them, they've got Andrew Self on commentary tonight for their game against Everton. Here's the team news.
Here at Bramall Lane on this Boxing Day, it's becoming a little frustrating for Chris Wilder and his Blades side. No Premier League win before Christmas, and now they face the visit of top 4 Everton. Only 3 sides in Premier League history have been bottom at Christmas and have gone on to survive. Sheffield United's New Year's resolution is survival at all costs. For Everton, it is a year to the Boxing Day since the change of management and Carlo Ancelotti came in, and in that year they have improved some 11 places. Chris Wilder makes 2 changes to the side side that drew away with Brighton, with John Lundstrom suspended and John Fleck dropping to the bench. Carlo Ancelotti's side arrive here on the back of a 2-1 win over Arsenal in the Premier League. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has 11 Premier League goals this term and has scored 19 in 34 under Ancelotti. Well, Ancelotti makes one change to the side that beat the Gunners. Richarlison misses out and 19-year-old Anthony Gordon comes in. Andre Gomez returns to the bench here at Bramall Lane for Sheffield United versus Everton.
Selfie, thank you. That game is on talksport.com/EN, our digital partners around the world as well. Goals as they go in here during our commentary of City against Newcastle. So we got it covered. All right, don't worry. Dave Kitson is with me for Man City Newcastle. Dave, a few minutes on Sheffield United. They are currently doing worse at this point than Derby County, who got, 11 points in the worst ever Premier League season. At what point does it get so bad that Sheffield United have to sign Robbie Savage?
Oh, I hope never. It is bad. It is really, really bad. There's no getting away from it. As much as I love Chris and the guys up there, it is an amazing football club. And it's such a shame to see them in this predicament. I played against that Derby team actually that holds the records. And I don't see the similarities. When I see Sheffield United, I still see fight. I still see hunger. I still see them playing for the manager and carrying out their instructions. That Derby team I played against, we beat them 4-0 on the last day of the season, and to be honest, it should have been 12. It was so easy. They've just completely given up. I don't see that. I don't see a club and I don't see a group of players that have given up there. But it's like you said, how long can it go on? Because it comes to the point as well where it's a crisis, but it's also embarrassing.
As you know, our listeners are all over Africa and all over North America, and they're listening to this as football fans. Some may be new football fans, and they're seeing a team that have been that bad. They know this industry for sackings, the sacking season. Get rid of the manager. So explain to someone who is maybe new to football or doesn't know Sheffield United why Chris Wilder is still in a job.
Well, Chris Wilder played for the Blades, and he played in he's a local lad. He's from the area. The fans love him, and still, despite what's going on, they love him. He is one of their own. And I remember saying to the owners when they were going through a patch, when I recommended Chris to them, they probably don't thank me for it now.
Oh no! But that was a good thing to say last year.
Last year,
don't admit to it now.
Now it's a shocker now. But I said this is a club where you get these clubs every now and again where it's a huge club, but it's still really local, if that makes sense. It's not like an Old Trafford. It's a real local heart of the community stuff. And Chris is their son. That's how they feel about it. He played in 2 relegation fights and won them both with Sheffield United. He did extraordinary things with them, getting them up from League One to the into the Championship, winning that, and then getting into the Premier League and finished 8th, I think it was, last season. And I do believe that the owners are looking at this as, okay, look, if the worst happens and we go down, who is better to come in than Chris Wilder?
Yeah.
And that is the fundamental question, and it's one that I would probably say the answer is, well, you know what, there ain't one.
Tough night for them tonight against an Everton side who, if they win, would go second in the table. That's because Leicester failed to win earlier. They were up against Manchester United, who Everton can also leapfrog. That one of 3 games that have already finished today. In fact, 4, of course. We had another one, didn't we? So a whole host of games to get through. Let's get all the goals and all the action.
Here's Cavani. He's found Fernandez! And there's the goal. And Cavani's impact from the bench is instant. It's an assist this time. And Bruno Fernandez yet again has contributed goals. Back to Perez on the turn. Vardy! There he is! Again, Jamie Vardy! 2-2. Well, when you've got him in the team, there is always hope.
As you said, he's produced so much for us, and I'll let him be Bruno. I'll let him be himself and play the way he wants to play the game within this our structure. I think we've helped him as well to create them numbers.
We came back and scored an excellent goal with Harvey, and then likewise second half. So now it shows you we're developing as a team, the mentality, which is very, very important at the highest level.
Grealish not making up air space. Oh, but dearie me, El Ghazi, first time, smashing it, bending away from the keeper. Well, that is goal of the game, in off the post. Guaita with no chance. Aston Villa have found it easier with 10 than they did with 11. 3-0.
Kasaka goes for goal. Oh, what a goal! He's curled it with the right foot over the top of Mendy and into the far corner and off the post. A goal out of nowhere. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 0. Hudson-Odoi, good ball in, and Tammy Abraham, I think it's with his chest, helps the ball over the line. He waves his finger at the referee because the assistant on this near side, Stuart Burt, has his flag up, and a goal is given. Tammy Abraham scores his 4th Premier League goal of the season. It's a mere statistic. Chelsea are on the score sheet with 4 minutes to go. It's Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1.
And that's how it finished at Emirates Stadium. They're staying up, Arsenal are staying up. Dave Gibson is with me, building up to Man City against Newcastle. Dave, we caught some of that game in the green room, building up to our commentary. When it's 3-1 in a game and you get a 90th minute penalty, you don't do the Jorginho hop, skip, jump, do you? You thwack the ball home. What was he thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that technique. Anyway, it doesn't seem to add anything to penalty taking. You know, you probably do it to try and put the keeper off or make him make a move first, but they've got to stay on their line now anyway. So, yes, so long as the ball is put in the right area. I always used to think head down. I visualised it in my head exactly what square of the net I wanted it to hit, and if I hit it hard enough, there was no way the keeper was going to get there, and that's what I would do, and then I would wait for the goal kick.
The sky's been falling a bit on Mikel Arteta, hasn't it, for the last 3 or 4 weeks? Are they in a relegation battle? All that, you know, we have been having some fun with it, and why not? But you questioned, as we were watching the game, the attitude of some Arsenal players before tonight.
Yeah.
And going into tonight's game, for those that missed the game earlier, they brought in Martinelli, they brought in Smith Rowe, they brought Pablo Mari back after his long time injury absence, and some of the more senior players, Nicola Pepe, he didn't get in the side. Ceballos too. Is that the right thing for Mikel Arteta? Attitude first?
Yeah, because it is true to say that you do learn a lot about individuals when things are going wrong, and things were going very, very wrong at Arsenal. And what I saw in the Everton game was 3 or 4 players who didn't want to be on that pitch, who weren't working, who weren't putting the effort in, and it was undermining the entire side. And what I saw tonight, the bits I caught of it, were replacements who said, you know what, we will run through the wall, we will play for Arteta, we will play for this shirt, and it just goes to show what they can do.
Elsewhere today, great win for Aston Villa, 3-0 against Crystal Palace. Tyrone Mings was sent off before half-time in that game, and Villa still smashed Crystal Palace, beleaguered themselves after their walloping against Liverpool last time out. You know, we don't talk enough about Villa, I don't think, as potential challengers, because you think, you know, after last season, the relegation battle, all that sort of stuff, but a game in hand on the leaders, Liverpool, only 6 points off of them, already beaten them for 7 themselves this season. What's happened to Aston Villa?
Yeah, just I think there was they got so much confidence from staying up last season, and actually they've added some really good players. I mean, some really underrated players that fit into this work ethic that they want to put in place there, which is, you know, work ethic first, and they've got a real key strategy now as well, which I've noticed, and it sounds simple, it's basically getting Grealish on the ball whenever we can, but they're moving him around. He's moving all over the pitch, and it's so difficult to pick him up. You can't just say to the right back, right, you're going to pick up Grealish, because he goes all over the place, and if you don't pass him on, if you don't do that correctly and talk to each other, he gets on the ball, he causes you so many problems.
Yeah, starting in the number 10 role today, Traore, who scored the first goal, was on the right before he got taken off because of the red card. A tremendous performance from Aston Villa. Dean Smith said it was a mature performance against Crystal Palace. For Villa, they're away at Chelsea next up in a couple of days, and they went above them today in the table on goal difference, with the Blues losing against Arsenal. Also today, 0-0 Fulham Southampton. That's why I forgot there was 4 games earlier, because quite rightly I've forgotten that happened. Leicester 2, Man United 2, we've got to mention that briefly. A game at the very top end of the table, two of the best teams in the division this year. Share with the spoils. United have won every away game this season in the league. They've finally been held by somebody, and it was always going to be. I'm still giving that late goal to Jamie Vardy. They keep saying it's to Nzabi. He doesn't want it. No one wants to give it. Give it to Vardy. And it was always going to be him involved. And it was. Is that a good point for either side?
I think it's probably a better point for Leicester City, given where they were with 5 minutes left in that game, staring down the barrel really, and you don't want to get beaten by the teams around you. Look, Leicester probably, Brendan Rodgers certainly will be thinking we can win this league, and we have. These are the games where we might drop a point here and a point there, but these are the games where you nick that goal in the 85th minute and the character of the team that comes out. To lose that game for Leicester would have been massive. And the fact that they dragged themselves back into it, I think it's going to be great guns. It's going to do them the power of good, honestly.
Brendan Rodgers thinks his side can win the league, says Dave Kitson. I'm sure Pep Guardiola feels the same as well. His team were in action against Newcastle United shortly in the driving rain in Manchester. No fans here, sadly. Maybe they'll be happier watching it on their armchairs around the city and indeed around the world if they could see the horrid weather the players have got to play in this evening. Newcastle in mid-table, solidly so, but the fans, they ain't happy with their manager Steve Bruce and the style of football, judging by his side tonight. They might want to look away now. The players are in the tunnel. It's Manchester City against Newcastle United. Kick-off is next, and you're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League Live.
Gets the shot away! Goal!
With TalkSport.
Demanding a high performance from your team? You should be demanding the same from your tyres. The Irish Tyre Industry Association is urging motorists to stay safe this winter and check the condition of your tyres. You could even be liable for a fine and 2 penalty points if found driving with tyres below the legal tread depth limit of 1.6 millimetres. ITIA expert technicians will carry out a free tyre safety check to ensure your tyres are safe and legal. Visit itia.ie to find your local expert.
As Ireland's homegrown insurer, FPD knows it's empowering when someone has your back. So switch your van insurance to us and get up to 75% no-claim discount. Visit fpd.ie to request a quote. FPD Insurance. Support. It's what we do. Terms, conditions and underwriting criteria apply. 75% no-claims discount is based on proof of 5 years no-claims discount and available to new commercial motor customers only. FPD Insurance Group Limited, trading as FPD Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Commercial motor insurance is underwritten by FPD Insurance PLC.
This is not the time for business as usual. It's time for effort and imagination. It's time to use technology to start your online plans. It's time to work from home to stay in touch. It's time to look to each other. Erscá Céile. Ireland is working online with help from Black Knight and .ie, because now we need better than business as usual. Call Black Knight on 059 918 3027 or visit blackknight.ie.
Certainty. With Volkswagen commercial vehicles, it's included as standard. Quality, performance, reliability, and now with purchase contributions of up to €3,500 and service plans from $999. For vans and offers you can rely on, always. Contact your local Volkswagen commercial vehicles dealer or visit volkswagenvans.ie. T's and C's apply.
There's certain matchday sounds we are all missing. But there are others we don't have to. Is Carlsberg Pilsner the best beer to enjoy while watching the match at home? Probably. Carlsberg Pilsner. Probably the best beer in the world. Enjoy Carlsberg sensibly. Visit drinkaware.ie.
This Christmas, get all the non-stop Premier League action with a Now TV, Sky Sports or Sports Extra pack. Watch over 40 games this December with the biggest names in the league.
Gets it from Fernandez.
Stream every game or only pay for the ones you want. Your sport on your terms with Now TV. 18 plus ROI only. Month passes sold separately and auto-renew. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Terms apply.
The Premier League Live.
Oh, what a goal!
with TalkSport.
At this time of year, we take a moment to remember those associated with the club who have passed away in the last 12 months.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Newcastle United from the Etihad Stadium. I'm Tom Manley. With me is the former Stoke, Portsmouth and Reading top-flight striker Dave Kitson. This is Premier League Live, and as you're just hearing before kick-off, there will be a moment of reflection just before this game gets underway, in tribute to those that have sadly been lost to us this year.
Jack Charlton and former Newcastle United and Manchester City coach Peter Benetti. The Manchester City family reaches far and wide, and tonight we remember those who have sadly passed away. Jeremy Whiston, Jimmy Conway, Alf Wood, Michael Robinson, Dave Bacuzzi, David Davidson, and Glenn Pardo. There will now be a minute's silence, started and stopped by the referee's whistle.
Tribute at the start of this match at the Etihad Stadium. So many have been lost this year from the football world. You heard some names there like Jack Charlton, Peter Benetti, lost to us in the calendar year, but of course so much suffering around the world as well, reflected by those at Manchester City. I'm Tommy. Dave Kitson is with me. We are just about to get underway here. You can hear on our effects mics, we might need to turn them down. The rain is driving heavily in Manchester right now. As Forrest Gump would have described it, it's big old fat rain in Manchester, so it might be a bit tough for the players out there this evening. The teams are Man City against Newcastle, and let's run you through the starting 11s. For Manchester City, Ederson is in goal, back four of Nathan Ake, Ruben Dias, John Stones and João Cancelo. In midfield, Rodri and Gundogan with Kevin De Bruyne in the number 10. Raheem Sterling and Bernardo Silva supporting Ferran Torres, who leads the line this evening. Jesus and Kyle Walker both testing positive for COVID-19 this week, so not in the matchday squad. On the bench for Man City, I'll bring you that shortly, as Newcastle having an early attack here down the left-hand side. Cross comes in, Ake away, Bernardo Silva further upfield. Bench for City, Zach Steffen, Sergio Aguero, Alexander Zinchenko, Aymeric Laporte, Benjamin Mendy, Fernandinho, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden and Cole Palmer. For those that missed the memo, it's 9 subs these days in the Premier League, just 3 still allowed to come on. For Newcastle, they make 4 changes in their last league game, 5 from the Cup. The starting lineup is Carl Darlow in goal, back 4 left to right with Matt Ritchie, Kieran Clark, Federico Fernandez, Fabian Schär and DeAndre Yedlin. Midfield, Isaac Hayden, Matt Longstaff, Miguel Almiron and Jacob Murphy supporting Joelinton up front. Callum Wilson amongst those players who've been dropped/rested this evening. The bench is Mark Gillespie, Andy Carroll, Dwight Gale, Callum Wilson, Jamal Lewis, Emil Kraft, Javier Manquillo, Sean Longstaff and Elliot Anderson. Andre Mariner is our referee. Fourth official, Andrew Madley, and Lee Mason is the dreaded VAR. 90 seconds gone here at the Etihad Stadium, 0-0 at the moment between City and Newcastle. Dave Kitson, the conditions aren't great, are they? Does that affect the football we're going to see this evening?
Yeah, you would have thought so. The ball will zip around a little bit more. You'd think that would suit City, but actually we haven't seen Newcastle's half yet, because it has been all Newcastle. They made a great start, and what's surprising me is how committed they are when they're going forward. They had seven players in the final third in the first minute of the game, which is pretty unheard of for Newcastle.
Didn't score though, and we are into a more familiar setup now with Manchester City on the ball around the centre of the field. They are in strong defensive form right now, Manchester City, but offensively they have struggled, which is a rarity for a Pep Guardiola side. 19 goals in 13 league games. The lowest that Guardiola has scored at this stage of a season for any of his sides in his managerial career. 11 seasons, which has seen him win 9 league titles. Here is Ruben Dias in the centre circle, forward to Kevin De Bruyne. To his right is Gundogan. Gundogan further out to Bernardo Silva, who's not scored this season in the Premier League. Cuts away from DeAndre Yedlin and finds a pass back to Rodri. Short to Nathan Ake, in at left back this evening, with Cancelo out on the right hand side, replacing Kyle Walker in that position. Ball fired towards Raheem Sterling on the ground, left to right. Too heavy for Sterling from Cancelo, who'd gone into the centre of midfield, and that's into touch for a Newcastle United goal kick.
Yeah, they love that ball, City. That one that's just wait for Sterling to make that run right across the back line and then slip him in between the full-back and the centre half. That gap is always there, and City love playing it.
Not particularly effective that time. City kick from left to right as we're looking in this first half. Sky blue shirts, white shorts and sky blue socks. Newcastle the other way, right to left as we look in their home strip away from home, the famous barcode strip, black and white stripes, black shorts and black socks. Coming forward here with Almiron, crossing into the area towards Joelinton, cleared away by City. Good defensive work again by Diaz and Stones. Oh, that's strong, by the retreating Ferran Torres on Matt Longstaff. That's going to be a free kick to Newcastle inside the City half on the left.
That's a fair whack to get in the first 4 minutes of the game, as Torres going in on Longstaff. Goes right through the back of him.
And Torres playing in the striker role this evening, as he did against Southampton in their last league game. 6 goals in all competitions for City this season. Only a couple he's played in this position though. Doing his defensive work there, getting his team in some trouble. Cross comes in, flicked on once, then twice. Back header from Fabian Schar, trying to find Almiron. Ederson steps out, rolls De Bruyne into all sorts of trouble, and Matt Ritchie lumps him and the ball basically into touch. Certainly the ball. Not a great pass out there from his goalkeeper, was it?
No, I don't know what Ederson's thinking there. I know he's keen to get the game going, but you know, De Bruyne is being chased as he comes out, and that Ritchie is bearing down on him as well, and Ritchie goes straight through De Bruyne. Didn't make anything of it, the Belgian.
You expect nothing less than full commitment from Matt Ritchie, versatile player, one of many former Bournemouth players in the Newcastle United squad. As we mentioned, Wilson has been dropped this evening. Ryan Fraser is not in the matchday squad. Ball forward towards Ferran Torres by City. Cleared away only as far as Cancelo. Onto Sterling. Ball comes in. It's cleared up in the air there by Fabian Schar. He rather swiped across it with the left boot. Spoons it over his own crossbar for a corner kick.
Yeah, there's that ball again. Just played in between the centre half and the full back. And Sterling runs in behind. And the thing is, you know it's coming, but it's really difficult because the ball will move swiftly on this surface, and Sterling is absolute lightning getting on the end of it as well.
Play there by Manchester City, and they're forced a corner on the attacking right-hand side. The first corner of the match, 6 minutes gone. Ball in by De Bruyne. Oh, and it's just been helped away from Stones by Isaac Hayden. Last second, Hayden just got a flick on that. Jacob Murphy tries to bring Newcastle upfield, can't do so. Challenged by Cancelo, who's been heavily involved in the early minutes, and he'll knock it all the way back to Ederson, decked out all in vibrant pink away to our left.
It's a great ball, great corner from De Bruyne, just absolutely crying out to be put in. I mean, the ball just dropped on the 6-yard line with nobody around it. Newcastle scramble it clear.
Yeah, it looked like Hayden got something on it, but we haven't seen a replay as yet to see whether he did or whether he just put off the City player who was coming in to attack it. Either way, it was another incredible ball from Kevin De Bruyne. I once saw Dan Burn when he was playing for Wigan when City beat them in the Cup, and he was asked afterwards what it was like defending against Kevin De Bruyne, and he said some of those crosses were disgusting. And you could see where he's coming from when you see crosses like that.
Football rhetoric for very good.
Yes. Yeah. But nice, a nice bit of flourish on that from the now Brighton man Dan Burn. High ball from City there is disgusting in a more literal sense. Cleared away by Ritchie, then further away by Fabian Schar up towards the halfway line. Picked up by John Stones, slight miscontrol, but he recovers it, pokes to Rodri. Stones into Rodri again, centre circle, carries the ball out left. He finds Nathan Ake, who's not really a left back, and couple of times the ball has been played to him in that role. It's kind of shown. Another former Bournemouth player out there this evening, this time for Manchester City. Diaz right to Stones, who's having a run in the side at the moment, ahead of Aymeric Laporte, who is fit but on the bench. Back to Stones again. Core part of their recent revival defensively, John Stones. 12 goals conceded this season, the best defence in the Premier League, not something you normally associate with the Pep Guardiola side.
There's some very surprising stats where Man City are concerned. I mean, the goals for is the one that jumps off the page when you look at it.
Cross on the left hand side here from City, cleared away by Schar. Murphy battling with the City midfield. Rodri finds a poke forward, but Joelinton can make nothing of it. Cancelo's run into trouble. Almiron can bring Newcastle away. The midway inside the road half here, Newcastle, in front of Steve Bruce, who's on the edge of his technical area, wearing club coat, hair now almost fully grey. The man who won the Premier League as a centre-half for Manchester United. Boyhood Newcastle fan, but also a former Sunderland manager, so you decide which one of those things makes you love him or loathe him if you're a Newcastle supporter.
Yeah, I think as a Man U fan, didn't he score the goal that clinched the title for them and sort of
yes, he did.
kick-started Man United's dominance, didn't it, that one header?
The famous Fergie and Brian Kidd running on and all that, yeah, absolutely.
Great moment.
Key player in the history of the Premier League, and indeed a man who's managed many, many seasons. He might have an issue here, though. High ball towards Joelinton. I've seen him go down here, midway inside the City half. He's holding his lower back. Whether it's just a contact injury, not sure. He's been playing further wide this season as Joelinton, the Newcastle number 9. He's not a natural goal scorer. He certainly hasn't scored a great deal for Newcastle, but him and Callum Wilson have linked up well at times this season. But tonight Wilson rested, and Joelinton, the lead striker. Wilson up, warming up right now, might need to come on. Knee in the back?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I mean, I can't see anything unless he's tweaked something on the landing. I can't see anything. I mean, certainly there's no blame where John Stones is concerned, just jumping for the header. He may well catch him in the hip, just on the hip flexor there, which can be quite painful. Seems all right.
He's having a walk towards the sideline. Steve Bruce will not want to play Callum Wilson this evening. Such a crucial player for Newcastle, their top scorer, and indeed most creative player this season for Newcastle United, with games coming thick and fast as they do in England during the Christmas period. And you have to say thick and fast every commentary as well. That is a rule. I get paid every time I say thick and fast. Newcastle up against Liverpool next in this tough run of games, followed by tough game at home against Leicester City. So Christmas has not been kind on Newcastle. Joelinton's up and okay. At least one slice of good news for them. You also have to say Christmas cracker as well somewhere. That's in your contract if you're doing a game this time of year.
If we get a decent goal.
Even if you don't, you have to do it. It's in the contract. You're obliged.
I should read these things more clearly, really.
You signed it, mate. You want to get paid? I expect a Christmas cracker gang. Here's John Stones, halfway line, down the right-hand side, trying to find the run of Ferran Torres, the makeshift centre-forward. Ball into touch, though, that time from Stones. Throwing for Newcastle in the left-back area, around about 20 yards away from their defensive left corner flag. Still here, by the way. We're trying to get our team working on it around the stadium here. We have effects mics provided to us all around the field, and there's tech people right now turning things down to try and stop the sound of the rain, because it is still hammering down, and of course there's no people to absorb the rain, so it's rain hitting 50,000+ seats at full pelt. So apologies if you're hearing that, or maybe looking out the window as I sometimes do when it rains on TV. We'll do our very best, our utmost. If the players can struggle with it, so can you. All right.
Yeah, it's blowing a gale as well.
Yes,
and it's getting worse.
Horrible weather to be out. Not really a great deal of football to be seen so far for those watching it on TV and listening on the radio. There's Ederson in his own area. Big blast upfield, trying to release the runner on the far side, Bernardo Silva. Intercepted well by Federico Fernandez. Newcastle working over the halfway. Yedlin, the US international, into Miguel Almiron. Span a lovely ball here into Richie. Out of his feet. Early cross away by Stones on his own 6-yard box. Sterling back defending. Finds a pass back to Rodri. Up towards Ferran Torres. And the referee has given a push there against Kieran Clark for the pressure on Ferran Torres. I'm not sure that should be given as a free kick.
No, I think he didn't particularly fancy trying to hold that ball up and keep Schar off his back.
They always get it though, mate, don't they? They always do.
Always. Yep. Yeah.
I feel like I moan about it every week, but it's like I've got no influence. I don't know. What's going on here? No one listening to me. 12 minutes gone here, 0-0 between Man City and Newcastle United. Also goalless in our other game tonight, Sheffield United against Everton. Andrew Self calling that one for you online and through our digital partners as well. Goals as they go in right here. We'll try and get a full match report later from Andrew if there's time in our programme, but it is goalless there. Huge game for Chris Wilder's Sheffield United and indeed for Carlo Ancelotti's Everton. Back here, the ball is with John Stones for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Forward to De Bruyne, centre of the field. Further on to Cancelo on the right. Down the line to Raheem Sterling, who's up against Matt Ritchie. Back towards Cancelo. Up against Longstaff, into Rodri. Rodri left into space and Nathan Ake. Down the line to Bernardo Silva. Silva infield towards Kevin De Bruyne. Cancelo, edge of the area. Lovely slip to Raheem Sterling. Goal side, Raheem Sterling drags it back. Can he shoot? Still got it. Turned in by Gundogan. Brilliant composure from Raheem Sterling, who could have shot several times, but he just couldn't see the opening, couldn't see the opportunity. He saw Gundogan, who slammed home 1-0.
Yeah, and it's that ball again, the ball that slipped between the full-back and the centre-half into Sterling, who gets behind the left-back. They do it so many times. This is the third time they played it in 14 minutes. And it's paid off for them. It's a fabulous pass. It really is. It's a fullback's nightmare. And once he gets into that situation, Sterling, you fancy him just to dink it over. But actually, Darlow stands up really well. He has to cut back on his left, and he just doesn't fancy the shot. Picks out his teammate. The unfortunate thing for Newcastle is they all run onto the goal line to try and stop Sterling, so they've left the man to finish.
Yeah, Ritchie goes back, Clark goes back, and everyone's forgotten the ball.
Yeah.
Sterling and Gundogan didn't, and Gundogan scores his second goal in 3 games for Manchester City. He scored in the 1-1 draw against West Bromwich Albion here, and has found the net early against Newcastle United. That doesn't bode well for a Newcastle side who have set up for the goalless draw.
Yeah, and you play these sorts of games against the really big teams. You play these games in chunks, and in the changing room, Steve Bruce would have been saying to his players, 15 minutes, keep it tight, pressure. And what happens? Bang on 15 minutes.
Chunk 1, not great. Yeah. On to chunk 2. Here's Bernardo Silva, left-hand side. Midway inside Newcastle territory, turns away from DeAndre Yedlin. Isaac Hayden restored to midfield for company. De Bruyne looks to slip in. Bernardo Silva on the run, well defended that time by Federico Fernandez, who clears it upfield. The man wearing the captain's armband for Newcastle United today. Won back though by Manchester City, who have, as you'd imagine, dominated possession in the opening 16 minutes, 73-27, and they lead by a goal to 0. Ruben Diaz, centre circle. Gundogan back to Rodri. Diagonal ball left to right, trying to release Raheem Sterling. Won by Ritchie, then by Almiron. No free kick. De Bruyne on Almiron, says Andre Mariner, the referee, and City retake possession. Rodri back to Stones, out to Raheem Sterling. Sterling into Rodri, bit of space in the pocket. Short pass back to Ruben Diaz, as almost every outfield player is in Newcastle's defensive third, City's attacking final third. City press upfield. Look at their defence day. They're all, 10 yards over the halfway line.
Yeah, and what's incredible is City have basically got 3 number 10s in there. Rodri's getting so much of this ball, and when he looks forward, he's got Gundogan, who's just been played in now right into that number 10 space.
Here he is, Gundogan into Cancelo, looks to slip it on to Sterling, can't do it this time, cleared away. Up towards Joelinton, who can't get there before Ruben Diaz. Won back by a big money signing from Benfica in the summer. Ruben Diaz out left to Ake. Not bad money himself. when they retake possession to Manchester City. Going to be a real tough night for Newcastle fans, but luckily, if you go by the forums and phone-ins, their fans aren't watching anymore anyway. So it's probably worked out quite well. Rodri turns forward, finds a pass left to Gundogan, back to Ake. Slips in the goal scorer Gundogan, 2 players around him, holds it up, infield to Rodri. Rodri with Longstaff for company. It's Matt Longstaff wearing number 4 in the central midfield this evening. Sean on the bench, seen as maybe the more senior of the Longstaffs. Cleared away by Newcastle up towards the halfway. Stones wins it back. Kevin De Bruyne left of centre, short to Rodri. Joelinton closing him down. Well, they're working hard off the ball here, are Newcastle. You can hear their technical staff cajoling and encouraging their players to do so. Got to be incredibly fit to be able to stop Manchester City, even one not quite firing on all cylinders. Rodri out left towards Bernardo Silva, controls on the stomach, in towards Gundogan, back to Rodri, slight miscontrol, into Sterling, turns away from the challenge of Schar. Joelinton and Almiron combined to battle and win it back.
Well, that was about 50-60 passes, and Newcastle only got it back because Sterling miscontrolled it.
But I suppose he miscontrolled it in the bit where it kind of most matters.
Yeah.
You've got to do something in that final third, haven't you, that isn't just pass it left and right.
Yeah, and that's what the options for guys like John Stones bringing the ball out of defence. Exactly, it's just done there. Playing into that number 10 row, he's got De Bruyne and Gundogan and Cancelo all in there. 3 options, really good options that he can pick out.
Kevin De Bruyne into Bernardo Silva, back to Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, and the cross nearly went in. Saka style. Recovered by Cancelo, deep cross away by Fernandez, then Yedlin, as far as Nathan Ake. For those that saw the Arsenal game earlier, Saka's goal that made it 3 at the time was a cross that dropped in. That very nearly happened there for Kevin De Bruyne. Good goalkeeping by Carl Darlow. Continues to be Newcastle's number 1 in the absence of Martin Dubravka. That might all go on for quite some time. 20 minutes gone here. Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0 on Premier League Live. The goal from Gundogan in the 15th minute separating the 2 teams. Possession 72-28 in City's favour. Just the one shot, it went in. Still goalless, by the way, in our other game tonight, which is live with Andrew Self on our website, and indeed throughout partners around the world, our digital and online partners. Sheffield United 0, Everton 0. Goals as they go in right here, so you don't need to go anywhere. You can if you want to, you have free will, but we'd love you to stay with us. Here's Bernardo Silva on the left hand side, back to Ake. Newcastle looking to press, looking to put the City players in some discomfort, unable to do so at the moment as Ake goes over the top. Bit of a chase here, which Fernandez is favourite for. The Newcastle defender gets there before Bernardo Silva. Back towards Darlow, who apart from picking the ball out of his net has done nothing so far. All in yellow, shirt, shorts and socks, away to our right, clears with his feet. Picked up by Kevin De Bruyne on the far side. Again, City attack the goal away to our right. And they have it again now with John Stones at the Etihad Stadium. On to Cancelo, back to Stones, into Rodri, centre of the field. City have scored now in 24 consecutive matches against Newcastle United. It is a record in the Premier League. They've also won their last 11 home matches against Newcastle. City's best run at home against anyone ever. On the front foot here, slipped into Sterling from De Bruyne. Just a slight miscontrol by Raheem Sterling when he was goal side of Fernandez, but it will be a City corner.
That's a fabulous ball from De Bruyne. It's that ball again. They do it on both sides, between the centre half and the full-back. This time Sterling just doesn't quite manage to control it as well as he'd like. He wins the corner.
Some teams have been able to stop that this season. West Bromwich Albion, I think, did a great job here stopping it, but so far Newcastle haven't. Trip towards Gundogan on the edge, who controls it, and he'll find Stones. They're lining up here. Oh, there's a horrible clash of heads there between Kieran Clark and Ruben Diaz. There was 3 or 4 City players at the back post trying to turn home that cross 6-yard box header, and it was Diaz who got there, but Clark had read it and he was brave to clear, and we stop play now because there has been a head collision.
Yeah, it's a good move actually. At first I I couldn't see what they were trying to do. De Bruyne just clipping the ball to the edge of the box for Gundogan, who controls it, and he threw me because I thought he was just going to go back and make a better angle for De Bruyne. He doesn't. He clips it to the far post where Stones is completely unmarked, wins the header across goal, and thankfully I'm not seeing any blood anywhere. It's not as bad as it first looked. It did look bad.
Well, unlike the David Luiz and Raul Jimenez one, no one's running at pace, and so they have clashed heads quite badly. However, no one was at full pelt. You know, the way David Luiz connected with Raul Jimenez, look, he's going for the ball. You can decide for yourselves if you thought he was being reckless or not, but you know, he's running at full pace. Here, they both seem to be able to carry on. No major medical concerns. That's good news for both teams, both players, of course. High clearance from Carl Darlow, the Newcastle keeper, midway inside City territory. It's played outright to the US international, to Andre Yedlin, back to Federico Fernandez. Jacob Murphy running down the right hand side, challenged by Bernardo Silva, then Ake, who clears. Was a foul there, but it's going to be play on, a City breakaway. De Bruyne slips in Ferran Torres, and Torres is running at Schar here, already at the area. Ferran Torres! Oh, he shuffled the ball nicely, gave the defender the eyes, but the shot lacked power, and Darlow makes the save.
Yeah, actually the referee plays a brilliant advantage there, because it's a foul on Ake, the linesman's flagging, but the ball that Ake plays as he was tumbling finds Torres up the pitch, and it's suddenly 2-on-2 with Sterling supporting him. He shifts it really well. You're right, he gets it onto his right foot, looks for all the world he's going to curl it in that corner. Just didn't get the power.
Here they come again, Manchester City. They're in the mood this evening to improve their goal score statistics, but Kevin De Bruyne's through ball that time has hit the heels of Kieran Clark, who just about got away with that, and it's up towards Joelinton, who can't hold it up. Good challenge there by Matt Ritchie, and he's won it ahead of Rodri. You may well have fouled him there, Rodri, but we play on. Rodri has stayed down. We don't stop the play, quite rightly, because it's not a head injury. Newcastle are going nowhere fast though, so they might kick it out now. If they had a bit more ambition, Newcastle, to get something from this game, they may well have played on.
Yeah, if he just does one more roll to the 10 he already did, he'd be off the pitch anyway. He does look in a bit of pain, actually, to be fair. He's taken a whack in a very painful place. Oh yeah, he did. He got a knee.
Kind of in the hip.
Yeah.
As, we're seeing the replay now, and it looks like it's an accidental collision. I think Rodri maybe is the aggressor in the challenge, but he takes a knee in the hip, which is not very nice.
Yeah, that is a super dead leg for sure.
Though the thing I always think is odd. I mean, you mentioned it there. When a player is legitimately injured, if I took a knee in the hip, I would roll off the pitch for medical attention. I wouldn't wait for someone to decide maybe to help me. I'd be screaming for my mother. Do you know what I mean? I find it odd that they continue to wait until, maybe Kieran Clark might knock it out for me. No, you're really injured. Help me! Someone get me the ice. Yeah, footballers are a strange old breed, as you know.
Yes, yeah, there we are, definitely.
Even in extreme pain, you're still thinking about how can I get an advantage for my team.
I might be able to get a yellow here as well.
Yes. You said it, not me, but you'll know.
I know. Yeah. Everyone knows, I think.
You're usually the person getting the yellow, weren't you, though?
Well, not me, especially this time of year. They all add up.
I did appreciate the other day when Christian Benteke got sent off for Palace against West Ham, and the cameras cut to Kevin Nolan, who literally did something like that every year his entire career. Allegedly. Allegedly.
Well, he was always suspended at that time of year, but
he loved the Christmas
whatever
off,
the motivation.
He might not turn up for work tomorrow as West Ham are in action against Brighton. We'll see. Just joking, the Nolan family are listening. 26 minutes gone, we're back underway. Rodri is back on the field, moving a touch slowly. Work to do here for him as Newcastle have it in City territory. Matt Ritchie, back to Clark, into Matt Longstaff. Clark further back to Fabian Schär, playing the centre of the three central defenders this season. Poor pass upfield, one back by Rodri, who, well, he runs into touch under pressure, goes to ground in hope, and Andre Mariner gives him a very, very soft free kick.
Yeah, it's an easy one to give, I think, right in front of Pep. the technical box. But it's so demoralising to have to play. I mean, this is in the great Arsenal teams I've played against, very similar. You know, you give the ball away, you don't see it again for another 5 minutes, and when you're trying to keep it, you get about 3 or 4 passes off before somebody loses it, or it gets the opposition win it back.
That's the story of it for Newcastle so far. Just can't get anywhere near the football. Challenged now by a combination of Isaac Hayden and Federico Fernandez, nicks it off Ferran Torres. Torres then fouls Federico Fernandez, who goes down. Newcastle have a free kick midway inside their own half. Dave, are they reasonably happy with 1-0? That'll be in the plan, right?
Yeah. It's for things like this, you know. As long as you can keep it to 1, you can probably still nick something from this game, a set piece, a long ball, a mistake, something like that. It really is imperative they don't concede anymore, which they might do now.
And we pump the ball upfield there to Newcastle, and City have won it back, and they attack down the left-hand side. Cross comes in from Bernardo Silva, cleared away by Newcastle, who lost this fixture 5-0 last season. During Project Restart back in July, the game was. Jesus, Mahrez, David Silva, who's now gone, all on the score sheet that day. Steve Bruce mentioned this week that was probably the nadir of their Project Restart run, which had its downs and downs, but not an actual down, which was good news for Newcastle. They sort of got safe and switched off, and maybe that is where some of the ire from Newcastle fans come from. 29 minutes gone here, they trail by a goal to 0. Gundogan on 15 minutes with still the only shot of the match going in. Couldn't miss from close range. Rodri outside of his own penalty area finds a forward pass up towards the halfway line. Still goalless still in the game between Sheffield United and Everton, by the way. Get goals as they go in, and if anything interesting happens, we'll let you know. Here's Gundogan, the goal scorer. Forward to Raheem Sterling, who's come in field. Back to Gundogan. Turning poor Matt Longstaff inside and out. Left to Ake, onto Bernardo Silva. City getting bodies forward. Here's Raheem Sterling, who's popped up on the left. Short to Gundogan, left to Ake. Down the line to Bernardo Silva. Return to Rodri. Challenge well by the hard-working Hayden. Picked up on the halfway line by City, though, and John Stones. Further right to Kevin De Bruyne, up against Miguel Almiron. Also a man who gets through his fair share of hard yards, Miguel Almiron. One of the most enthusiastic players you're ever going to see in football, Miguel Almiron.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the work ethic from the Newcastle players. There's just an enormous gulf in the talent pool, unfortunately, for them.
It's still a sign, I think, that are playing for their manager. The fans may have some issues, not all fans as well. We shouldn't bracket everyone off as, you know, people who hate the manager or vice versa, but it's fair to say the majority have made their voices heard in recent days. But the team haven't given up on Steve Bruce, that's for sure. And they're working hard here to try and win the ball back, and they have. Can they make something of it? Hayden into Longstaff, left to Almiron on the halfway line. Back towards Ritchie, all the way back to Darlow. No real ambition there from Newcastle in that small moment. Off the thigh of Almiron, they're back in the exact same position now on the left-hand side, halfway. Maybe now a forward pass from Hayden. That's a lovely ball too, left to right. Picked up by DeAndre Yedlin. Out of his body, deep cross over Almiron. Too far for Ritchie. Almiron probably fouled Ruben Dias anyway. And all hope of a moment of drama from Newcastle when the attacking third peters out.
It probably is their best move as well. So good switch of play from Hayden. Lovely ball floated out wide. But just Yedlin took an age with the cross, and when it finally came in, City was set and he overhit it anyway.
Yeah, poor from Yedlin. At that time, I mean, maybe he's one of those players, right? He is. I think he's better when he hasn't got any time to think about it and uses his natural talent. He had a good 5 seconds there to think about it. You just knew he was going to overhit that.
Yeah. And I mean, in fairness to him, there's not a lot to aim at, but he managed to miss what was there.
Yes. As you say, that's about as good as Newcastle have been able to put together so far, but you can see there's something there for Newcastle if they can keep the score as it is at 1-0 to Manchester City. High ball left to right from City there towards the advancing Cancelo, won by Ritchie, and that's going to be a throw in to Manchester City. which is worked back towards the halfway line, and Ruben Dias left to Ake on the halfway line. 32 minutes played. Down the line here, Kevin De Bruyne into Rodri. Gundogan tries to find De Bruyne with a first-time spinner, intercepted by Yedlin, but taken upfield by Murphy. Bit of space here for Longstaff in the centre circle. Finds a pass right to Joelinton, who pulled out that side. Got runners here, Newcastle. He didn't know where to go, Joelinton. In fact, he's played the ball behind Hayden so badly, and then he went into Kevin De Bruyne. Lucky for him, Hayden was alert to it. Joelinton back towards the halfway line of Federico Fernandez. There's a man who has forgotten how to attack, Joelinton. In towards Matt Longstaff, left to Richie over the top, spinning in here towards the Brazilian forward, who doesn't get there first and fouls John Stones. Is Callum Wilson fit? Has anyone seen Callum Wilson?
I'm not sure, but I mean, it's a thankless task, isn't it, for Joelinton? He gives away a foul here. He's so frustrated. Actually, the red mist comes down after the ref gives might actually be an offside first before the foul. But you can tell he just wanted to smash that ball into the hoardings as hard as he could. Managed to refrain from doing so. But it's really frustrating when your team can't get the ball to you. It's a thankless task up there as well.
4 goals last season in 45 games in all competitions, 3 in all this campaign in 16. They have been using him in a wider role back end of last season and this, but I think it's fair to say for 40 million they expected more goals than what the Brazilian Joelinton has offered so far. High ball up to him here, can't beat Ruben Dias in the air. Good win though by Almiron after Rodri's loose pass into Kieran Clark, who drives upfield, fouled by Rodri, and that will be the standard Man City midfielder yellow card.
Yeah, it was a yellow as well, because he knew exactly what he was doing. Just accepts it.
Good to see him actually getting a yellow card for it though. The amount of times you see City midfielders do this and they get 3, 4, 5 fouls like this before they get punished. I mean, he's just trying to trip him up because that's the game plan, isn't it? Always has been with Guardiola's sides.
Yeah, but it's a side of the game that people don't really associate the Guardiola, probably because the style of football is so amazing to watch at times. But it is the dark arts. It's one of the sides to Guardiola's tactics, which has always been there.
Beauty and the Beast for Pep Guardiola's side, and that very much the tagline of Dave Kitson and I when we're together. Here's a cross from Newcastle. Hayden left to right, trying to find Yedlin, cleared away by Ake, then Gundogan. Picked up by Ferran Torres, who's got a pass on here to Kevin De Bruyne, and De Bruyne's goal side is Schar, and he's bearing down on goal. Kevin De Bruyne, and he's hit the goalkeeper. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, ages to think about it. Should have picked his spot, and he fires it straight at Carl Darlow, who's done well.
If he just concentrates on finishing this, because his first touch is awful, because he's looking over to see where his support is. The second touch isn't much better. He takes another look to see who's supporting him. It's like he didn't want to score. By the time he actually makes up his mind to shoot, because nobody can keep up with him, Darlow's right on top of him. He hasn't got anywhere to aim. It's poor play. It's really poor from De Bruyne.
He had a couple of those against Fulham as well here when they were bossing the game, City, and he kept getting through and just wasn't finding the back of the net. 2 goals in 16 appearances, nowhere near enough for Kevin De Bruyne. And that is, he's one of the great players, but that is the big flaw in Kevin De Bruyne's game, scoring in those situations. And it actually came off him last for a goal kick, which is taken, though it's up towards Jacob Murphy, who finds himself offside. It's funny, isn't it? As you mentioned it on the replay, we couldn't quite see it live, but on the replay we just saw on our monitors behind the goal. He's looking left, he's looking left, he's looking left. He's trying to find anybody to pass it to.
Yeah, it's really surprising. I mean, that's normally what you associate a striker with that doesn't have any confidence, but why would De Bruyne not have any confidence? He's Kevin De Bruyne, and Man City's the main man. But it was really, really noticeable when you watch the replay back just how many times he looks to the left. You're clean through on goal.
Still in the game, Newcastle. Defending here, though, as Gundogan drives forward. Here's Ferran Torres. Back to Cancelo, centre of the field. Diagonal chip to Sterling. Goal side of Richie. Here he is on the right. Richie holds him up. Raheem Sterling takes a shot from an acute angle. 2 defenders there. Into the side netting. You hear Sterling there is screaming corner. I think it probably will be a goal kick, but this time he didn't have the cutback on.
ball from Cancelo. This time it's off the ground, just a little chip in behind the full-back. Matt Ritchie is getting run around on that ball time and time again. This time Sterling gets his shot off. Darlow's a good save. He might just have been creeping in.
Yeah, given the corner, fingertips of Darlow. Like it was always going side netting from the first angle, but may well have, as Kitson says there, been creeping in. So the corner's given, whipped in, away by Federico Fernandez, picked up by Cancelo, centre of the field. Tries a chip over the top to Raheem Sterling, this time to the other side, the left-hand side, off the head of Joelinton, and that's going to be a corner to City this time on the attacking left.
It's interesting to see where Cancelo is playing, really. I mean, I think when they bought him, everyone just said, well, full-back. But it's one of those Pep curiosities, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where he sees something else in a player. At the moment, he's playing as a number 10, and he's finding that ball in behind the Newcastle defence every single time.
So often you find the full-back suddenly in midfield for Guardiola, giving them those extra numbers. Cancelo doing a good job this evening. Corner from De Bruyne here. Straight into the waiting arms of Carl Darlow in his own 6-yard box. No attackers anywhere near him. Tries to get the break going quickly. Fires it straight to the head of Gundogan. Almiron picks up the second ball. Newcastle are in City territory. Hayden into Joelinton, who turns back towards the halfway. Back to Clark, left to Ritchie. City have bodies back now. Newcastle need to come up with some sort of idea. The idea of Kieran Clark driving down the left wing didn't quite work out. Picked up though by Ritchie on the left sideline. Back to Schar into Matt Longstaff, centre of the field, chipped out right, good ball. Yedlin in space, brings it down, pokes it down the line towards Murphy. Too heavy though from Yedlin. Ruben Diaz took no chances, didn't shield the ball out for a goal kick, kicks it into touch for a throw.
Yeah, it's better from Newcastle actually. Tried to go down the left, it wasn't on, came back, recycled the play, went down the right, asking a couple of questions finally.
39 minutes gone. Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0. Big crossfield to Ritchie, who takes on Cancelo, bites back at him. Sterling defending, turns away from Clark. Surely Sterling is holding the back of Clark's shirt there.
Yeah,
the referee hasn't given it. Yeah, someone's red boot is down there. We'll play on the other side as Yedlin crosses. Decent ball this time. And it's away by Ruben Diaz with Almiron sniffing around. It's Cancelo who's lost his boot. The knitted boot. Not usually defender's boot. But as you say, he's been playing mainly number 10 tonight. Goes over and picks it up. It will be a Newcastle corner. It's quite clever there, Raheem Sterling. He knew that there was no assistant referee on this near side. The ref couldn't see it, so he pulls the back of the shirt and almost makes it seem like he's being fouled.
Yeah, it's a I used to do something quite similar to defenders as well. My arm over their shoulder to stop them from jumping from goal kicks, and I got away with it every single time. Sometimes you just find something that works that everyone else seems to miss.
You've got to shake their hand. You've got a buzzer in it. Yeah, it's a good move. Now 5 minutes remaining here until the half-time whistle. Decent game actually. Newcastle have held on well. They trail by a goal to nil. They have a corner on the right-hand side. The rain continues to pour, so not a good night to be defending corners. Matt Ritchie has a good delivery. Left-footed, whipped in. Made by Ake, good header. Picked up by Almiron on the left-hand side. Good delivery in. Oh, flicked on firstly by Joelinton, and then Schar at the back post tried to turn it home. Just couldn't get there. De Bruyne lashes the ball away. Picked up on the halfway line by Yedlin's head into space, as he was in some trouble there. Picked up by Cancelo, and City are able to evade any further pressure.
Yeah, and it was a great delivery from Matt Ritchie as well, right on the money. Ake with a great header away. Almiron puts it back in, a little bit more on the header, and that would have been asking Ederson some serious questions.
There's Cancelo again in that central position where he's played a lot of the game when City have had the ball. Crossfield, Yedlin intercepts, poor loop clearance from him, taken back by Kevin De Bruyne. Yedlin tries to make up for it and does. Snaps back at Kevin De Bruyne, knocks the ball against him, throw in Newcastle. Jacob Murphy turning away from Sterling and Rodri. Judged to have tripped Rodri on that far side, and that's going to be a free kick to City. Midway inside Newcastle territory, Jacob Murphy judged to have nudged him in the back.
Spent quite a lot of time on the floor, Rodri, actually, this half. Probably more than anybody else.
Yellow carded as well, Rodri, so it's been a tough half for him so far, but not for his team. On the scoreline at least, as it's 1-0 to his team, the home team, Manchester City. And with the score as it is, they'd be rising to 5th in the table. And that will be just 5 points off top, having played the same amount of games as Liverpool at the moment, though. Liverpool back in action tomorrow as they take on West Bromwich Albion on about 4-game Sunday here on Premier League Live. Those games: Leeds against Burnley, West Ham United take on Brighton and Hove Albion, Liverpool West Bromwich Albion, and then Wolverhampton Wanderers up against Tottenham Hotspur. John Stones on the right hand side, halfway line, up against Almiron. Held up well by Almiron. Stones still tries to find the forward pass, intercepted by the Paraguayan Miguel Almiron. Coming on the halfway. Pep Guardiola right in front of that throw-in, wearing big black winter coat this evening. Did have his hood up originally, but he's taken it down now for a better view, and he's getting a face full of driving rain. No one will carry the umbrella these days, will they? For obvious reasons. Here's Bernardo Silva, who's coming over on this right-hand side. Crossfield to Sterling, brings it down well. Up against Yedlin, back towards Gundogan, the goal scorer. Cancelo, away from Hayden, onto De Bruyne. Dummies to cross and goes back to Ake instead. Cancelo finds a pass back to Ruben Diaz. Lovely ball, Kevin De Bruyne. Raheem Sterling in the area, up against Federico Fernandez, takes him inside, tries to go back out. Challenged by the Newcastle captain, City corner.
Oh, I don't think Sterling needed to do to cut back again. He'd already cut back inside, and he just has an opportunity to play a pass. He tries to chop him again, get to the byline. Just losing, he's furious with himself as well. He knows that there was just a tiny window there to get a shot or a pass off.
Last minute of normal time at the end of the opening 45. Another corner to Manchester City. This is their 5th of the match. De Bruyne loops one in, away by Joelinton, picked up by Almiron. That gives it an old-fashioned wallop upfield. Big bounce. This might go to Murphy here. Cancelo's got to be careful, and he's done really well, João Cancelo. Heads it into his own park. When if Murphy had got there, he would have been through on goal. City now have regrouped.
Yeah, he's done well, Cancelo. He's been the best player on the pitch for me. He's been everywhere. He's right back, right midfield. He's in the number 10 position now, really pulling the strings.
A moment to go, back defending, saving his side, the goal-scoring opportunity. Heading towards half-time here, heading towards half-time at Bramall Lane too. Sheffield United 0, Everton 0. Add yourself on the call there. No goals to tell you about at this moment. Sterling here fires one up in the air towards Ferran Torres, and he was goal side there of the Newcastle back three. It span into his path, it was holding up in the air, and Ferran Torres' touch let him down.
It's a good run. Actually, that Newcastle looked all at sea there for the first time, really. It's a run from deep. That's what causes the problem. There's no communication. There's no midfielder telling the defender that somebody's coming. He runs off the back. He finds himself in acres of space. The ball is just a little bit too heavy for him. He can't get it with his outstretched boot.
2 minutes added on, and the opening 45 minutes here. High ball towards Joelinton and Kieran Clark, who've gone forward. They're adjudged to have fouled Rodri in the air. Andre Mariner says the right arm came out across the face of City midfielder. Seeing a replay of it here, this is sort of a bit like what Christian Benteke got 2 yellows for at West Ham. We spoke about it earlier on for the Kevin Nolan hilarity of it all, but is that a foul? He's kind of just feeling where he is, isn't he?
Yeah, I think once you start putting your fingers around people's eyes, and you can actually do quite a nasty injury. It doesn't look like a foul, but you shouldn't really be putting your hands up there from the goal kick.
Fair enough, free kick given. Also won it back though on the right hand side with Matt Longstaff into Hayden, who got forward, buys the free kick from Rodri, who has been yellow carded, so a bit of a sloppy challenge from him. I think Isaac Hayden just making that point lightly to Andre Mariner with a bit of a smile on his face.
Yeah.
We saw it go with Tyrone Mings earlier, didn't we? I mean, you know, some things are clear yellows.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny actually, because I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday. Every single foul in football these days seems to be a yellow. There's no such thing as just a foul anymore.
Very true. Except there. Free kick right hand side Newcastle, 45 odd yards from the end line. Ball whipped in low, off Gundogan, could go anywhere, spins across the area, and it's away by Cancelo, who's trying to prevent the corner. I don't think he has. And that's an example of the conditions maybe playing a part there for Gundogan. Nice ball from the far side. I think it was Murphy who whipped it in.
It's a fabulous ball, it really is, right round the back of that City defence. You just, when it misses you, you're just crying out for someone to put it in or get it away, depending on what team you're in. Really, someone should be there on the spot for Newcastle.
Just maybe a little more meat on that, and it may well have found a Newcastle leg. Corner whipped in as far as Kieran Clark, who takes a swing at the bouncing ball. It's a City defender, loops over the top. No time though for another corner for Newcastle United as the half-time whistle has gone. Decent half of football as well here at the Etihad Stadium. Just the one goal from Gundogan after 15 minutes, set up nicely by Raheem Sterling. But Newcastle hung in there and are well worth still being in the game as the half-time whistle goes. Half-time as well at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 0, Everton 0. We'll be back with you for analysis shortly. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League Live.
Here's the shot away! Goal!
With TalkSport.
Demanding a high performance from your team? You should be demanding the same from your tyres. The Irish Tyre Industry Association is urging motorists to stay safe this winter and check the condition of your tyres. You could even be liable for a fine and 2 penalty points if found driving with tyres below the legal tread depth limit of 1.6 millimeters. ITIA expert technicians will carry out a free tyre safety check to ensure your tyres are safe and legal. Visit itia.ie to find your local expert.
What will you really gain from using anabolic steroids? Using illegal anabolic steroids can lead to nasty and serious side effects, both physical and psychological. Heart failure, infertility, hair loss, acne, mood swings, increased aggression. Don't lose out to steroid gains. Know the risks. Visit zerogains.ie. A message from the Health Products Regulatory Authority.
Certainty. With Volkswagen commercial vehicles, it's included as standard. The Crafter, Transporter and the all-new 5th generation Caddy are more innovative, dynamic and efficient than ever before. Now with HB Finance from 0%, purchase contributions of up to €3,500 and service plans from €9.99. They're the smart next step for your business. For vans and offers you can rely on always. Contact your local Volkswagen commercial vehicles dealer or visit volkswagenvans.ie and leave the rest to us. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply.
Introducing Guardson Sport. Protect your sporting equipment from COVID-19 for up to 14 days with Guardson Sport disinfectant treatment. Ideal in team sports settings with the sharing of balls, rackets, gloves, helmets and all other sporting equipment. Guardson Sport kills COVID-19 on impact, keeping surfaces free from COVID-19 and other viruses and bacteria for up to 14 days by creating a protective polymer layer on application. For more information on Guardson Sport and other quality assured, certified and approved PPE, visit yourcovidprotection.com.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Paddy Power gave to me another 12 days of Christmas parody. On the day after Christmas, Paddy Power gave to me on any sport a bet for free. Sorry, what I'm trying to say is Paddy Power giving away a free €5 bet on any sport this St. Stephen's Day. Now that's music to my ears. Merry Christmas from Paddy Power. Online exclusive. New customers must deposit 1 bet per customer. Opt-in required. Excludes in-play markets. T's and C's apply. Need help? Visit gamblingcare.ie.
123inc.ie have your office needs covered. So whether you're an accountant, butcher, carpenter, dentist, electrician, florist, graphic designer, hairdresser, journalist, lecturer, musician, optician, retailer, teacher, solicitor, web designer, or yoga instructor, we've got what you need. And we're cheaper than your current supplier. 123inc.ie. For home, for office, for less.
The Premier League Live. Oh, what a goal! With TalkSport.
You're You're listening to Premier League Live. Our last feature match on this jam-packed Saturday comes from the Etihad Stadium. Man City against Newcastle. 1-0 to City at the break. Gundogan with the only goal on 15 minutes. Another game live right now. Sheffield United against Everton. That is goalless. Big game at both top and bottom. We were going to ask our man Andrew Sell for a match report, but he just texted us all back saying no. 0-0 at the moment. We'll bring you anything if it happens at Bramall Lane, but doesn't sound like an entertaining affair so far. Elsewhere today, Leicester 2, Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 3, Crystal Palace 0. 0-0 between Fulham and Southampton. Just before we came to air, though, massive game at Arsenal. Were they or were they not going to be in a relegation scrap this season? That was the question going into the game. Well, maybe not. In the end, they've beaten Chelsea by 3-1. Let's hear from their delighted and maybe no longer beleaguered manager, Mikel Arteta.
Absolutely, really proud with the win, obviously, that we needed after the difficult weeks that we've been through. Not that much with performances, but yes, with results for different reasons. And today I'm really proud as well because we played on a Boxing Day at the Emirates, a London derby against a big team, and we played really well and we won the football match, which is something that I think players have to take it, and as well our fans for sure.
Yeah, good result for Mikel Arteta this evening. Dave Kitson with me, Tom Rennie here, covering the City-Newcastle game. Dave, we spoke about this game a little bit earlier on, but what about the pressure that Mikel Arteta has been under in the last couple of weeks? I think nobody was really thinking they could be in a relegation battle, and then they watched the last couple of games and thought, hold on a minute, can they go down? I mean, what's been happening with Arsenal in recent weeks?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's found his team. Well, he may have found his team today, but you know, there's some youngsters in there who are not going to be playing every game. But he's been let down by some of the players. Willian has been awful since he's, and I'm a huge Willian fan. I really am. I thought it was a good signing. Maybe not the contract and the length of the terms and everything, but great player. For me, a great player. And he just has not delivered for whatever reason. Pepe on the other wing hasn't delivered. You know, Aubameyang not scoring, Lacazette not scoring, and he's just being let down by all of his key players. And then the youngsters come in and put on a performance like that, but now it puts him in a real difficult situation. What does he do for the next game?
Do you think Mikel Arteta is still the right man for the Arsenal job? Despite the win today, there still will be questions.
Well, before this game, he was the right man for me because I'm a Tottenham fan. So it was great. He was definitely the right man.
And you retain that view now. Very nice. Listen, quickly to Chelsea. Let's hear from their manager, Frank Lampard.
Can't defend the first half because it lacked all the basics of football. The message was clear to the players. This will be a tough game. Team that are fighting, team with quality, team that will give everything at London derby. So I'll take responsibility here to the outside when I speak to you, but the players have to take responsibility for that first half.
Again, the table, we speak a lot about the table. It does lie to us right now. We're a couple of weeks earlier in the season than we usually are at Christmas. 3 or 4 games from now we'll know kind of how the season is going to shake up, so there's still time to save your campaign. The squad Chelsea have got, Dave, ludicrously talented, but no one's firing. Even the win against West Ham a few days ago, they didn't play well against West Ham and ended up nicking the victory late on. What do you make to Chelsea at the moment?
Yeah, there's still a couple of players away for me, and I'm not sure that Frank has found his best attack. They've got, you know, these wonderful players. You do have to say, you know, don't just become bad players overnight. Pulisic, I think, is a great player. Werner, I always liked. Havertz, I didn't particularly know anything about, but Havertz and Werner aren't delivering.
No,
really, and you can't carry 2 players at any club, especially if you've got designs on doing something, which Frank certainly will have, because he's under a bit of pressure now. He's spent a lot of money, and these players have come in, and they're not delivering for him. I think somebody texted me off air just before we came on saying, you know, if Spurs win, they can go to 8th. They'll be 8th, which is like, hang on a second, what is happening here?
Yeah, Spurs 8th right now. Victory tomorrow could put them back into the top 4. It's funny with Chelsea's form. It's very much if you're a glass half full or glass half empty kind of guy. It's 2 wins in 5 or 3 defeats in 4. Dealer's choice. It's up to you how you assess that. Here, decent half of football between Man City and Newcastle. 1-0 at the break. Let's get the first half highlights. Cancelo, edge of the area, lovely slip to Raheem Sterling, goal side, Raheem Sterling, Strakes it back. Can he shoot? Still got it. Turned in by Gundogan. Brilliant composure from Raheem Sterling, who could have shot several times, but he just couldn't see the opening, couldn't see the opportunity. He saw Gundogan, who slammed home 1-0.
It's a fabulous pass. It really is. It's a fullback's nightmare. He has to cut back on his left, and he just doesn't fancy the shot. Picks out his teammate.
City break away. De Bruyne slips in Ferran Torres, and Torres is running at Schar here, already in the area. Ferran Torres! Oh, he shuffled the ball nicely. Gave the defender the eyes, but the shot lacked power, and Darlow makes the save. Hit away by Ake, then Gundogan. Picked up by Ferran Torres, who's got a pass on here to Kevin De Bruyne, and De Bruyne's goal side of Schar, and he's bearing down on goal. Kevin De Bruyne, and he's hit the goalkeeper. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, ages to think about it, should have picked his spot, and he fires it straight at Carl Darlow, who's done well.
If he just concentrates on finishing this, because the first touch is awful, because he's looking over to see where his support is, the second touch isn't much better, he takes another look to see who's supporting him. It's like he didn't want to score.
That's the story of it so far at the Etihad Stadium. 1-0 to Manchester City. Briefly, Dave Kitson, who is with me. What do you expect from the second half? Any chance of a Newcastle United comeback?
Well, they need to work, as they're going to get tired, but they need the same work rate. And to be honest, when you have that much dominance as City have had, you'd have to expect them to score another goal. But you never know. If they can just stay in here until sort of 70, 75 minutes and then try and get something. Because they've had a couple of moments, Newcastle, where they could have got something with a fairer wind. But I think Manchester City might take this game away from them.
I mean, they have rested players, haven't they, Newcastle, for this evening? I wonder at what point they might break glass and bring on Callum Wilson if they're still in this game. You know, maybe 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go. We shall see. At half-time, it is 1-0 to Manchester City. Still goalless between Sheffield United and Everton. Goals as they go in there, and I'm not sure we're going to get any, but if they do go in, Andrew Self will bring them to you. Here, second half follows this break. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League Live.
Oh, what a goal!
With TalkSport.
What will you really gain from using anabolic steroids? Using illegal anabolic steroids can lead to nasty and serious side effects, both physical and psychological. Heart failure, infertility, hair loss, acne, mood swings, increased aggression. Don't lose out to steroid gains. Know the risks. Visit zerogains.ie. A message from the Health Products Regulatory Authority.
Get ready and hold on tight, because the Premier League is here! Which teams will stay on track? And who'll go off the rail? Get the Irish Sun for top transfer news, exclusive star interviews and opinions from the biggest names in football. Plus expert analysis of every action-packed match in our fantastic goals pull-out each weekend. Stay up to speed, because you never know what the Premier League is going to throw up. Pick up the Irish Sun today.
There are certain matchday sounds we are all missing. But there are others we don't have to. Is Carlsberg Pilsner the best beer to enjoy while watching the match at home? Probably. Carlsberg Pilsner. Probably the best beer in the world. Enjoy Carlsberg sensibly. Visit drinkaware.ie.
This is not the time for business as usual. It's time for effort and imagination. It's time to use technology to start your online plans. It's time to work from home to stay in touch. It's time to look to each other. Erscoa Kayla. Ireland is working online with help from Black Knight and .ie, because now we need better than business as usual. Call Black Knight on 059 918 3027 or visit blackknight.ie. Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen.
As Ireland's homegrown insurer, FPD knows it's empowering when someone has your back. So switch your van insurance to us and get up to 75% no-claim discount. Visit fpd.ie to request a quote. FBD Insurance. Support. It's what we do. Terms, conditions and underwriting criteria apply. 75% no claims discount is based on proof of 5 years no claims discount and available to new commercial motor customers only. FBD Insurance Group Limited, trading as FBD Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Commercial motor insurance is underwritten by FBD Insurance PLC.
The Premier League Live.
Here's the shot away! Goal!
With TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Newcastle United from a pumping Etihad Stadium. There's no fans here. I don't know who this is for, but we're enjoying it nonetheless. There's nothing better than being deafened at half-time. I'm Tom Rennie. Dave Kitson, the former top-flight striker, is with me. You're options there for Steve Bruce. Also Jamal Lewis, Emil Kraft, Javier Manquillo, Sean Longstaff and Elliot Anderson. Andre Mariner is our referee. Lee Mason, the dreaded VAR, not called into action as yet. We are back underway. Thankfully the music has stopped and the ringing in my ears will hopefully subside. Dave Kitson, old Man City would have won this 5-0, right? What are we going to see in this second half? Will they try and crush Newcastle?
Yeah, there is a change to City, definitely. I'm not sure whether it's because of this transition that the team are in at the moment or whether it's just a new type of way that Pep wants to play, where it's not all 100% all guns blazing. It's just more passing, more considered. But yeah, I think you're right. I think a couple of seasons ago you would have seen Man City be 3 up at half-time, no problem at all.
On the ball now, City, sky blue shirts, white shorts and sky blue socks. They kick from right to left as we look in this second period. Newcastle the other way, left to right, the barcode shirts, the black and white stripes, the magpie kits, black shorts and black socks. Good challenge by Kieran Clark there on Bernardo Silva, who begins actually over the right hand side. Started this second half, Sterling on the left, throw in back towards the halfway line. Possession, by the way, from the first half, 75-25 in City's favour. 4 shots from them, all on target, 1 going in. Newcastle with a couple of attempts that were both off target. As I mentioned, they're running through the many subs. Andy Carroll, Dwight Gale, Callum Wilson. They've certainly got options, Newcastle, if they are still in this game. As we head towards the final stages, strong challenge there by Gundogan on Isaac Hayden on the halfway line. Hayden stayed down here. City haven't knocked it out as yet. They have stopped playing and now they will knock it into touch for Isaac Hayden to get some treatment.
Yeah, it certainly was a strong challenge. If that was the other way around, I think the whistle may have gone. But it's Gundogan who comes flying in, and the ball certainly doesn't go in the direction that Gundogan's pointing in. He takes a fair amount of Hayden with him.
Good player, Isaac Hayden, 25 years of age now, once an under-21 international with England. He's one of those guys, Isaac Hayden, that Newcastle fans, who I speak to, and of course are people who phone into kind of TalkSport in the UK and whatnot, they always say how good he is and how he's an underrated player that maybe should have international caps, and he's also got ambitions to play further up the table as well. What do you make to him? Yeah, no, he's good. I'll
tell you one thing about his game as well that we don't see often enough is his shooting ability is phenomenal, by the way. He hits the ball so cleanly. I've seen him do it a couple of times, and he had that really lengthy injury, but Newcastle don't tend to get forward enough and keep the ball in that half of the pitch much for a guy like that to have a pop from 25, 30 yards. And it's a shame because it's a real big asset to his game.
Getting some treatment now, Isaac Hayden on the sideline as the ball is thrown back into play. Joelinton all the way back to Ederson, the Man City goalkeeper, decked out all in pink. Hayden is now back on. We get back underway. Poor pass forward there from Ruben Diaz, intercepted by Murphy, and Murphy has got away from Gundogan. As he got a pass on, he slipped over twice, and then tried to slip in Joelinton, gave it straight to Rodri. City get away with it. It was almost blind panic there when he realised that he had a chance to get through on goal.
Oh, he's lost his boot. That's why he's slipping all over the place. He's trying to play a pass, but with his left foot, but his standing leg kept giving out.
Bring back studs, the proper studs, and leather boots. Stop wearing your nan's knitting on your feet, lads. That'll help. Bernardo Silva, right to left to Gundogan, out of his feet, running towards the penalty area, pokes to De Bruyne, back to Gundogan, who's also slipped over. He kept his boots on, left to Raheem Sterling, into Gundogan again. Gundogan right to Stones, who steps forward, short to Bernardo Silva, breaks away from two. In fact, is fouled by Matt Ritchie on the City's right, Newcastle's left. Free kick opportunity.
Quick feet from Bernardo Silva. We haven't seen much of him really in this game.
Haven't seen much of him all season.
No.
Bernardo Silva, a real drop off in form. He's done so much, hasn't he, for City since coming to the club, but we had a goal in the Premier League this season. We had a go in any competition this season for Manchester City at least.
Yeah, to me he almost seems a little bit not wasted as such, because he's still an incredible talent, but just not utilising his strengths as well as they might if he was in that number 10 position a lot more. He's, for me, sometimes too isolated on the wing.
We've got a free kick now though, which De Bruyne clips in. Stones header. Oh, and Stones put it wide, miles wide too. It's a free header from 8 yards out, perfectly on his forehead, rises brilliantly, and then forgot where the goal was.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he's trying to head that back across goal. I think he's actually trying to score. It's a great run. No one goes with him. He's completely free, but his body shape isn't right.
Is he trying to find Ferran Torres and not the goal?
I don't know. I don't know whether he is.
It's so far wide. That can't be a header towards goal, can it?
I don't. But the thing is, if you're right in the middle of the goal with a free header, why aren't you just headering it at the goal?
Well, if City don't go on to win this, then there may well be an inquiry about that. They're coming forward again here with Gundogan. Raheem Sterling in the area, shoots, blocked well by Yedlin. Cleared away by Fernandez. Good play by Joelinton, and Almiron could slip it. Murphy here, and here is Murphy, only Stones to beat. Takes the shot at goal. He's done well to get a shot away. Didn't get enough on it though to beat Ederson, who saved to his right.
Yeah, it's a good breakaway. It's a good play in midfield. Joelinton holding the ball up. Third man run provided by Murphy, and he's found really well by Almiron, but Aki and Stones between them just keep him wide, and well, he does get the shot off, but if he'd have scored from there I would have been amazed.
De Bruyne into Gundogan, challenged by Federico Fernandez, gets Newcastle back on the ball in their own half. Ritchie over the top towards Almiron. Stones gets there first, just inside his own half, and City are back on the ball again. Apologies, by the way, if you are hearing a few bizarre sound effects here again. For those just joining us, the weather is truly atrocious. Classic Christmas period in England, and our effects mics are picking up some serious winds swirling around the Etihad. So apologies if you're finding that a touch unpleasant. Apologies if you're finding us unpleasant as well, but nothing we can do about that. Ball back to Ederson, 52 minutes gone, 1-0 to Manchester City, still goalless at Bramall Lane between Sheffield United and Everton. The Blades on the worst ever start in the history of English football, just 2 points this season. Looking for their third tonight, no wins in their opening 14 matches. Back here, Newcastle are safely in mid-table, 18 points. Losing here though by a goal to nil as things stand. Fixture list has not been kind to Newcastle during the Christmas period, the busiest period of the season, and they're defending here as Ferran Torres slips in Cancelo in the area, right hand side, cross is blocked by Ritchie, recovered by Cancelo. Ferran Torres in the area, black and white shirts around him, finds a poke back to Gundogan. Further right to Cancelo. Almiron holds him up. Cancelo away from the area, back towards the halfway line. And And John Stones into Ruben Diaz, forward to Kevin De Bruyne. To his right is Rodri, poked in towards Cancelo. All he can do though is pick out Fabian Schar. And Carl Darlow away to our left, all in yellow. Blasts upfield. Joelinton can't bring it down. Commits about 3 fouls trying to win it back. Doesn't do so. Rodri gets away from Matt Longstaff, who rather pushed away at Rodri like a child pushing away a parent who just gave him a present he didn't want it.
Yeah, he got a whack in the face. I think he wanted to leave something back on Rodri there.
Didn't leave much.
Not much at all. If anything, he bounced off him.
Hit the gym, come back next year. Here's Nathan Ake, left-hand side. Back to Rodri again. Into Bernardo Silva. Ruben Diaz. All the way back to Ederson. They have struggled for goals this season. Looking at some of their victories this campaign, they did put 5 past Burnley here, but that is just something that happens every season. You can't stop that. It's like a force of nature. 2 against Fulham, 3 against Marseille. Olympiacos in the Champions League scored 3 as well, but not really the 1 or 2 batterings of opponents you usually see from City at this stage. Newcastle are kind of there to be thrashed if City fancy it. Here is De Bruyne in the area trying to do just that. Cross towards Torres, cleared away. Farmer's Rodri, who strikes it clean, hits the back of Kieran Clark. Almiron then gets there before Cancelo, but he's won it back. Cancelo, low cross, blocked by Fernandez into Torres, and that is 2-0 to Manchester City. What a shame for Federico Fernandez, who did what he thought he had to do in the penalty area, needed some help, and what he did was find a direct pass to Ferran Torres, and the makeshift striker does his best Aguero impression and finds the back of the net against Newcastle. 2-0.
Oh, it's a shame for Fernandez because he thinks Torres has gone in with him, and he hasn't. He just went to make that double run, went in and then pulled out and hung back by the penalty area, by the penalty spot, and it's a really unfortunate clearance from Fernandez in the end. It get anywhere but where he ends up clearing this too. In fact, he makes a bit of a mess of it. I think he misses it with his first outstretched leg, and it hits the other one, and it falls perfectly to Torres, and he makes no mistake with a finish.
Second goal in the Premier League this season for Ferran Torres, scored in that rout we were speaking about earlier against Burnley. Scored plenty of goals in the Champions League for his new side as well, so good moment for him. Smartly struck away. What about Miguel Almiron? We were praising him earlier on, but the way he gave that ball away to Cancelo on the far side was criminal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, then this is what happens when I was saying at half time, when you get a little bit tired and you start making, poor decisions, tired decisions. And they've certainly put the work rate in, but at what cost?
Those games coming up for Newcastle, by the way. Liverpool at home on Wednesday, Leicester at home next Sunday, Arsenal away in the Cup, and Arsenal winning again today, so maybe would have preferred to meet them today, in a couple of weeks' time. But it is a tough period, isn't it? I mean, we love it. The players always, in general, maybe you're different, but in general, when we ask the players, they tend to say they love it as well. Game to the best bit, but it's still an exhausting time for any player.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it if we won. That's the thing, because it's that. I mean, that run. Everyone's going to be tired. Everyone's going to have the same amount of games, run of games, but it depends on the order that they come in. The order you've just read out there for Newcastle. I mean, the way they come out of the bag, that's horrendous. It's an awful run, and by the time you start going into January, if you're on the back of 5 defeats, January is a long month.
But then again, conversely, if you are going to go into games you're unlikely to win, why not do it when you are at your least strong, and then maybe when you've got winnable games, you've got more fit players. I don't know, I suppose it can work both ways. Change here for City. Rodri has gone off, been knocked from pillar to post this evening, and he'll have a nice rest. Club legend and club captain Fernandinho comes on to replace him in centre of midfield.
Yeah, it's a good decision from Pep. He doesn't need to risk silly yellow card for Rodri, and I do think as well that they've been trying to get him to bite on a couple of occasions. Longstaff certainly left a couple on him in the second half.
City got some tough games themselves during the Christmas period. They've got Everton away on Monday Night Football in a couple of days, and then it's a trip to Chelsea before Man United in the Carabao Cup, which is always a tasty affair. So they're busy, and if you're Man City, that's what you expect, as Ruben Diaz passes back to Ederson, who clears that field. Approaching the hour, it's Man City 2, Newcastle United 0. Here's Raheem Sterling, midway inside Newcastle territory from the left. Into Kevin De Bruyne, back to Gundogan, square to Fernandinho. Still goalless, by the way, with 60 minutes play between Sheffield United and Everton. Again, if a goal goes in, we'll bring it to you here. Maybe another goal here for Sterling. Oh, and a post is struck by Gundogan, I think. Ball from the right-hand side, right across the 6-yard box. Sterling couldn't turn it home. Bernardo Silva couldn't turn it home. And it will go, I think, for a goal kick to Newcastle in the end, when it should really be 3-0. In fact, it will be a corner to City.
Yeah, I thought Sterling was offside, actually. He seemed to be ahead of the ball when Silva crossed that. Great ball across the face of the goal. And Sterling can't seem to sort his feet out, and it just basically hits his left leg in the end.
Right on the goal line from Raheem Sterling. It was Bernardo Silva on the first rebound that hit the post, and his dry spell continues. Corner comes in, Stones is there, as is Ake. It's bouncing around, and it will just be cleared away by Fabian Schär on the second bounce. Nathan Ake went in for it. No idea where it was when he made initial contact, spinning around. If he span left, he would have turned it home, but span right, lost the ball, and Newcastle clear.
Yeah, I think City like the smell of this game suddenly. I think they can sense a few more goals here.
A few Newcastle heads, you mentioned tired, but they might start dropping as well again, conserving their own legs. It's a horrible rainy night. Even subconsciously, when you feel the game has gone half an hour away against City, is a pretty tall order. Oh, that's a poor pass back from Matt Ritchie to Darlow, and he knew it as well, so he got his body in the way of Kevin De Bruyne and Darlow. Could have maybe been a foul, but I think it's just about going to be past clever play. Longstaff right to Yedlin is driving forward, brought down by Raheem Sterling. Newcastle play on. Murphy, bit of space in the area. Yedlin's cross blocked by Ake. Murphy screams handball, as you heard on our effects microphones. Would have been very wishful from Murphy. Going to get a replay of it just in case there's any question to it, but looks like a Newcastle corner. It's actually the chest as well, doesn't even hit the hand.
Yeah, it's the chest of Ake, does well.
Corner though for Newcastle, right hand side. If they can score one here, things go back to being a touch more interesting. Ritchie is over it again. We mentioned earlier on, he does have a lovely set piece delivery. Left footed, it's swirling in. Ake away, great meet from him. Turned forward by Yedlin, who drove it into a group of players. Picked up by Matt Longstaff from a clearance. Out left to Almiron, poke towards Kieran Clark. Newcastle have bodies forward here. Shame they're all centre halves. Here's Fabian Schär, back to Almiron. Cross comes in. Schär goes down. He wants a penalty. He's not going to get a penalty for that. Good challenge here though from Murphy, who does get the shot away. It's the stanchion behind the goal as opposed to the post. You just heard the ping there. Wasn't the post. Fabian Schär going for a penalty there. I mean,
I'm not even sure why he did it. Just try and compete with Ake for the header. We're just going to see a replay of it.
It's pure. He kind of like he jumps in the air and spins into Ake and kind of screams penalty. I mean, it's rather. I think it's pathetic, but I mean, some of the things you get penalties for now. Why not get in the box, jump on the ground, hope for the best?
Yeah, you never know, and it's, you never know how it's going to look on the replay either these days. It might look even worse, but that was awful, to be honest.
Yes, that may be the worst dive I've ever seen, and there's at least 40 dives a game these days, so that's quite the accolade for Fabian Schär. 62 minutes gone, 2-0 to Manchester City. For those just joining us, it's Gundogan and Ferran Torres with the goals, both coming early in each half. Here's Gundogan trying to lob one over the top to the runner, Raheem Sterling. Good defensive work this time by Fabian Schär, who stays on his feet. Bernardo Silva with a clip out left to John Stones. Cancelo over on the sideline right, midway inside Newcastle territory, away from Almiron, into Silva, back to Fernandinho, who came on for Rodri. Left to Gundogan. Kevin De Bruyne back to Gundogan. Fernandinho, players around him, back towards Nathan Ake again. Just worth a pause to let listeners hear, if you can, the rain that's just hammering on the roofs and seats of the Etihad Stadium. It really is a nasty evening weather-wise. Tough night defensively for Newcastle from this point too, you'd imagine. Here's John Stones getting forward, edge of the area, back to Kevin De Bruyne. Gets away from Hayden. Kevin De Bruyne left to Sterling. In the area up against Yedlin. Couple of step overs, takes him on the outside. Still going, Sterling. No, and he goes down looking for a penalty, and he should be getting yellow carded for that. That's a horrid dive from Raheem Sterling. Winning penalties is his speciality, but that was just horrible there. Horrible to see. Referee lets them play on. I don't even think you get booked for diving anymore, but he just sort of hoped there was contact and jumped on the ground, almost like a child pretending to wrestle against an imaginary friend.
Yeah, all the Newcastle players are asking the referee for a yellow card, but none forthcoming.
Well, why doesn't he get one for that?
Well, I haven't seen it back initially. It's one of those ones where you think, oh, has he clipped him? It happens so fast, but he doesn't release the ball quick enough, and he gets himself into a little bit of a muddle, Sterling, looking for an outlet. In the end, he goes down. He maybe felt something, but there certainly wasn't anything enough there for a penalty.
I haven't seen a replay as yet of that incident. As on the far side, Cancelo is brought down by Matt Ritchie. 20 penalties he's won, Raheem Sterling, during his Man City career. He won one against Fulham here in that victory, which I think was dubious. And I mean, you know what he's going to do. And this time Andre Mariner was wise to it, but hasn't punished him for it. Matt Ritchie has been booked, by the way, for a foul on Cancelo on the far side, so Ritchie has been yellow carded. 65 minutes gone, 2-0 to Manchester City against Newcastle United, still goalless in the game between Sheffield United and Everton. Is there the spirit to crush the opponents that we used to see all the time from Manchester City? Ball is with Cancelo, who's not been as advanced in this second half as he was in the first.
No, he hasn't.
Man City, 19 goals going into this one, up to 21 in the league now. It was a ratio of 1.46 per game. There were since 2007 in the league at this point. We'll be hoping to get rid of stats like that as they cut the ball back here to Raheem Sterling, right to centre. Bernardo Silva's cut back, cleared away well by Newcastle's wall of defenders. Kevin De Bruyne wins it back on the halfway line, won't win a free kick. Or running into Joelinton, understandably so.
I tell you what, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Kevin De Bruyne. But in this is the worst I've seen him play, I think. His touch has been off, his positioning's been off.
But is this a night for the footballing artistry of Kevin De Bruyne? I mean, the rain. I know he keeps saying it.
Yeah.
But my goodness, it's terrible.
Yeah, no, it's not easy. I mean, the one-on-one that he missed where he got caught in two minds. Just not quite at it tonight.
Change here for Newcastle. Moments after getting a yellow card, Matt Ritchie's been taken off. Jamal Lewis has come on to replace him, so straight swap. Over on that far side. They've worked hard tonight, the fullbacks on both sides. Lewis on the left now, and DeAndre Yedlin remains on the right. I suppose Matt Ritchie on a yellow card is walking a tightrope with half an hour to play. All with Newcastle on the halfway line here. 76% possession for Man City at this point, so a rarity this for Newcastle to have the ball. They work it back to Darlow. Couldn't do much about the 2 goals tonight. Apart from that, he's not had a great deal to do, Carl Darlow. Here's Miguel Almiron. Miggy to his friends. Ball from him wasn't particularly good, intercepted by John Stones. Do you think maybe they might think about resting a couple of players now, Newcastle, with this game long gone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've got another Newcastle player down now.
Joelinton again.
Joelinton, it's that hip. He's holding that, the small of his back, and his hip where he got the knee in the was it the first half?
Yeah,
and it's obviously aggravating him a little bit.
Well, if this isn't a night for Andy Carroll, I don't know what is. Come on. Actually, but we're getting the replay here on our monitors of that Sterling dive. I mean,
no, it's not good. Having seen it back now, it's not good.
It's disgraceful behaviour, isn't it? I mean, why is that not being punished? Honestly, I don't get it. I mean, I know we're in a world that we encourage this sort of thing now, but if you're going to dive good. You know? And that certainly wasn't that. Still getting treatment here, Joelinton. I think they'll be rather keen not to bring on Callum Wilson here, will Newcastle?
Yeah.
Steve Bruce, who's having a quick word with Isaac Hayden, one of his favourite lieutenants. Played him in so many positions, Isaac Hayden, and Steve Bruce. Reliable performer. Joelinton will probably want to go off here, won't he, if he can? I mean, he's felt that hip a couple of times now. Yeah, some treatment on that far side. He runs straight back on again. Why they make him walk off and come back on again still, I really don't know. Anyway, he's still on, and he's chasing down the ball here. Ruben Dias on it. Big grimace across his face, the Newcastle forward. Nathan Ake being chased down well here by Jacob Murphy. Goes down wanting a free kick. Of course he does, not going to get one. City have been able to retake possession. Steve Bruce there was up in arms, wasn't he? Thought that Ake went to ground and brought down Murphy. If Murphy had won that, he was almost through.
Yeah, he was.
Ruben Dias forward to Fernandinho, back towards Gundogan, left hand side. They're on the halfway line here, City. The spirit to crush is not there right now. You don't get more points, do you, for more goals? Conserving energy, very important during this period. Spun into the path of Raheem Sterling there. Good defending by Fabian Schär in his own area. Another man who is kind of playing his way back into fitness at Newcastle, of which there are so many. Of course, they're having the issues with COVID-19 as well. No Lascelles, no Saint-Maximin, who may well be the kind of player you'd bring on in this situation. Get you upfield, give you a bit of magic.
Yeah, two big players for Newcastle as well, aren't they? Massive.
Suffering, unfortunately, with long COVID at the moment, say Newcastle, and struggling to get to a football playing fitness as City come forward here down the right hand side. Bernardo Silva slips in Ferran Torres, low cross cleared away well by Fabian Schär again. Out for a corner to Manchester City.
Yeah, I think that's what Fabian Schär was trying to do the first time when he inadvertently teed up Torres for his goal.
Joelinton is now going off, and that's no surprise really, considering the knocks that he has taken. Maybe a little bit of a surprise here for some that Andy Carroll is coming on. Firstly, that Andy Carroll's fit, I know we're all stunned by that, but secondly, that maybe Callum Wilson isn't on to replace him, and I think eyes are on other games for Newcastle, and Callum Wilson will be rested for Liverpool up next. Corner taken short by City. Return to Kevin De Bruyne, cut back, blocked by Longstaff. Almiron and Cancelo at full pace to win the loose ball. It spins into touch and goes for a throw to City. I don't think Ruben Dias will be too used to dealing with someone like Andy Carroll if Newcastle can get a cross in at some point. Well, he's returned to Newcastle, spent a long time away at West Ham, did Andy Carroll. Of course, Liverpool in that time away from the club as well, but they've managed him well at Newcastle to get him on the field a decent amount. This is his 11th appearance of the season, 8th in the Premier League, which is about what he managed in his last 3 years at West Ham. Does he still have much to offer, do you think, Andy Carroll in the Premier League in 2020? Or 2021 next week?
I'm not sure. I think perhaps in a limited way. For games like this, perhaps, you need a little bit of aerial presence if you're protecting something, or indeed trying to get something up the other end. But I think when you look at his career and you look at the injuries, that's horrendous injuries. It just, some players just aren't built for that 40, 50, 60 game season, unfortunately.
Yeah, he only played 142 of the 312 available games during his time at West Ham. You see him defending here. Ferran Torres down the right hand side, shoots at goal, blocked by Carl Darlow. I didn't give that much enthusiasm because he looked well offside.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, just put the flag up.
Yes.
What is this? I mean, it's your job. You can see. Is it like 3 yards offside?
I mean, this one's not
looking
close.
Right at it. No.
I can see if it's close. If in doubt, keep it down, as the old saying doesn't go. But that's the rules anyway. Here's Almiron left hand side. 72 minutes gone, 2-0 to City. Andy Carroll not in the box yet. Now he has lumbered his way in there if Almiron can cross it. Goes back towards Longstaff, back down the line again to Miggy Almiron. I'm going to call him Miguel. That was just for fun. Fabian Schär found in the centre circle, right to Federico Fernandez. Rather a little waste there from Newcastle, considering Carroll had just made his way into the box. Yedlin down the line to Murphy, end line right hand side, up against Ake, tries to cut back away from him, cuts back into trouble, past to Gundogan, and they had at least 2 good crossing opportunities there, Newcastle. They didn't take either.
Yeah, you just got to put the ball in there. Got to get something. You've got to work your way all the way up to that type of position. You've got to deliver.
Poor ball towards Almiron, but Carroll makes something of it. And Almiron can now run at Stones and Cancelo and Ruben Diaz. Well, he's not Lionel Messi, he can't do that. One back by City. Good game in the first half. I feel like I'm watching someone's testimonial now.
Yeah, it's got that, with the obviously no crowd being there doesn't help, but it's really Newcastle have accepted their fate, it seems.
Well, that's the trouble when everyone seems to be happy with the status quo, which they are, and you can understand it, can't you? I mean, from the position of pragmatism, we come at it from a position of entertainment, from a pragmatic point of view. It's not bad for Newcastle's goal difference. They never thought they'd win this game anyway, and City get their 3 points. No one seems injured. Bish bash bosh, on to next week.
Yeah, everyone just resting their legs, I think, by the looks of it. Newcastle seem quite content to let City have the ball in certain areas.
John Stones back to Fernandinho on the halfway line, up against Longstaff and Almiron. Back to Stones, Longstaff chasing him down, all the way back to Ederson, who will give it a big punt upfield. Oh, it's a nice ball into Raheem Sterling here, bounces once, Darlow comes out, punches the ball against Raheem Sterling, back to Kevin De Bruyne, who picks it up, carries towards the area. Kevin De Bruyne finds a pass, Bernardo Silva onto the right hand side, Cancelo's ball in, it's behind Ferran Torres, maybe just took a nudge of Fabian Schär, which took it out of the path of Torres.
Well, it's 3 times Cancelo has done that, smashed the ball across the face of goal, and 3 times City could have scored off them. He doesn't mess around, and I really like that. He doesn't necessarily try to pick someone out, he asks the question.
Such has been the form of Kyle Walker this season that João Cancelo has played most of this campaign out at left back, but over on the right tonight he has had a tremendous game, I think, for Manchester City, as Dave Kitson was just saying. I wonder what happens as and when Kyle Walker returns. The issue remains at left back with perennially injured Benjamin Mendy, and definitely not a left back Nathan Ake, the options this season.
Yeah, I think you can get away with it in perhaps games like this, but long term it's a position they need to sort out. But Cancelo looks to me like one of those players you could just play anywhere, and he'd always be 7-8 out of 10, and tonight he's been exceptional.
Just hearing that Sergio Aguero is stripping off and getting ready to come back on as he looks to return to fitness. Will be a crucial player, won't he, Sergio Aguero, this season, if they can keep him fit, if they have the ace goal scorer fit for one more try at it, then maybe they can still challenge for the Premier League title.
He is the type of player you need, and you have to think as well that if he'd been playing from the start fully fit, Sergio Aguero, some of those balls that have gone across the box from Cancelo would have been gobbled up.
And here he comes now, Manchester City's leading scorer of all time, Sergio Aguero, coming on for the final 13 minutes here. Ferran Torres going off, not the centre forward Ferran Torres as maybe we would expect, but he has played there tonight. What do you make of Ferran Torres at number 9?
Yeah, no, not at the moment. He may get there with a run of games, perhaps. It doesn't look a natural 9 to me, but he's had to perform a job for the team today in the same way that Nathan Ake is having to perform a job for his team tonight. It is what it is at this time of year, and he's done it pretty well. He's got his goal. He can be quite proud.
Centre forward scores a goal. That is job done. Good night for Ferran Torres. Sergio Aguero is now on, sniffing around this forward ball here. Sergio Aguero, approaching nearly a year since he last scored in the Premier League. Sergio Aguero,
and his last goal was on my birthday, so
is that
I think
right?
He did that specially for me. Yeah, January 21st.
Does it every year?
Every year. We send a text beforehand. This is for you, Dave.
Here's DeAndre Yedlin, right hand side for Newcastle. Murphy, edge of the area, left footed, good effort. Well saved by Ederson. Down to his right. A lovely connection there by Murphy, who just found himself in space. On the other side, Newcastle have won possession again. Almiron's cross over Carroll. And why not? Murphy takes a dive, everyone does. No penalty. Yedlin's cross, blocked by Ake. Well, if you can't win it, you may as well try and cheat, mind you. I mean, that's the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, that is what all this new technology has done for us, I'm afraid.
So 2-0 here between Manchester City and Newcastle. Newcastle coming forward again, but ball into the area has ended up in Andy Carroll fouling. I think it's John Stones who's gone down, not Ruben Diaz. Yeah, it is John Stones. Just took a clattering of the Carroll Express.
Yeah, either an arm or a head. This replay will tell us. Oh, it's an arm, and it's a big arm as well. That's a big elbow from Carroll.
Yeah, I mean, he leads with his arm.
Yeah,
you'll know this better than anyone, Dave. You know, he leads with his arm. But at what point is it a leading arm, and what point is it dangerous play?
Yeah, well, to me, that did look pretty dangerous. I mean, I understand trying to get the leverage, but it is dangerous. It is dangerous. Some of those elbows that catch you, they do hurt.
That would have hurt John Stones. He's up and all right. There's no yellow card for Andy Carroll. Again, Christian Benteke got sent off for that a couple of weeks ago, but anyway, we can debate that another time. No yellow card at the moment for Andy Carroll, and he's still on the field. Newcastle are coming forward. That's a poor challenge there by Fabian Schär as De Bruyne cut in field. In the middle third, he was running left to right. Schär brought him down, and that's a yellow card for Fabian Schär, who has got through some serious work tonight. It was a poor challenge.
Just a bit too quick for him. De Bruyne takes the ball away and he's caught flat-footed, sticks a leg out.
10 minutes remaining. Manchester City 2, Newcastle United 0 on Premier League Live. Tom Riley and Dave Kitson with you. Another game this evening between Sheffield United and Everton. We are hearing something has happened at Bramall Lane. We'll bring you whatever it was in just a few moments. We are hearing that it's no longer 0-0 between Sheffield United and Everton, but back here we've got action. The City are coming forward, right hand side, beautiful ball, Aguero! Great save by Carl Darlow. Another incredible cross on the right hand side from Cancelo. And Sergio Aguero looks to end his long Premier League goal drought, but Darlow makes a really smart save.
Yeah, it's a great ball initially from De Bruyne down the wing to Cancelo, and this is what I'm talking about. When you have a natural striker who knows what positions to take up and how that ball is going to come in, he must have thought he'd scored. He hits it into the ground. It looks like it's going to bounce over Darlow's outstretched hand, where he does brilliantly to repel it.
Let's get to Bramall Lane, shall we? 0-0 for a long time. There has been a goal.
Coleman stands it up into the box again. Basham heads it up, edge of the box. Bernard gets it down, back to goal to Corey. Sets up Sigurdsson puts it in the bottom corner. It's 1-0. It's Gylfi Sigurdsson on the diagonal. Ramsdale could do nothing about it. 17 yards inside the penalty area. Just rolled it past Ramsdale's right hand into the bottom right hand corner. And the goal goes in, and it was just a case of Sheffield United not clearing their lines well enough at any given point. And finally Sheffield United will be a little bit deflated by that. They've been resolute and Everton haven't really created much.
Well, at Bramall Lane, Everton take the lead, and, well, that would continue the worst ever start in English top-flight football history. Winless at this stage, Sheffield United. The last team to reach Christmas without a win in English football was Burnley and Bolton. Burnley in 1890 and Bolton in 1903. It's 2020 for those that haven't known that for a while. We haven't seen the goal day, but it's kind of the same old story, isn't it? Week in, week out for Sheffield United.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the rain here was bad. It must be absolutely pouring down at Sheffield United, because it's just one thing after another at the moment. I didn't enjoy hearing that. I was really hoping that was going to be a Sheffield United goal, but such as it is, It's a long, long road back.
Well, still about 7 minutes remaining at Bramall Lane, as there is here at the Etihad Stadium, where it's Man City 2, Newcastle United 0. Whilst you are away from us, a change for Newcastle. Miguel Almiron has been withdrawn. Dwight Gale on to replace him. That's the last change that they can make, Newcastle. For what good that will do. Here's Cancelo on the right-hand side. In the area again, Cancelo. Doesn't cross this time, goes back to Bernardo Silva. Further away to Kevin De Bruyne. Back towards the halfway line of Ruben Diaz. Left to Nathan Ake. Out of his body, Ake into Fernandinho. Fernandinho out right to the impressive Cancelo. Up against Jamal Lewis. He leaves it short for Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne to Fernandinho. Left is Nathan Ake. Gundogan now. Back to Ake. Ruben Diaz. And then John Stones. City just happy to keep the ball, happy to keep Newcastle working, happy to take those 3 points. There is a professionalism about City as opposed to a swashbuckle these days. Over on the right hand side, Bernardo Silva running infield, still in the centre of the pitch, the middle third. Fernandinho back to Ruben Diaz. Good 40 odd passes it's been now for City, and they keep on racking them up here. Possession 77-23 in their favour. Last count, it was 778 passes, and now they've got a penalty surely. Ball into Aguero, gets away from Darlow. Darlow brings him down. Andre Mariner says goal kick. Well, that looked like a pretty textbook penalty, but it will be checked by the VAR, of course.
Yeah, Aguero looks absolutely astonished that it hasn't been given by the referee. The ball from De Bruyne here is magnificent, and actually I think what we're going to find is Aguero's offside by the merest of margins.
That makes the debate about a penalty redundant as he's offside, and in fact we're getting a replay here, and Carl Darlow's put a good tackle in, isn't he?
I think he has. I think he's just towed it away from Aguero. I think he's going to be offside anyway, but yeah, I'll tell you what, it's some decision from the ref.
Yeah, Andre Mariner has got that absolutely right, and the VAR's checking it here, but I mean he's offside with the ball played through to him.
Exactly. I don't think I'm seeing things. He really does look offside.
Well, no penalties given. We get back underway. Darlow, having made a great challenge, has given the ball straight to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne away from Longstaff. Here is Kevin De Bruyne, edge of the area, does shoot, blocked by Schar. Recovered by Bernardo Silva, who's passed to Kevin De Bruyne. He's had a terrible game, Bernardo Silva. It's behind Kevin De Bruyne. A real stinker. Again from Bernardo Silva. What's going on with him?
Yeah. Difficult for him to perform his trickery in these conditions, I think. I think that's a big part of it. But again, I know he plays out there a lot, but I really like him in that number 10 position where he comes inside, he makes things happen. So tricky to pick up. He just seems a little bit isolated on the wing sometimes.
4 minutes remaining here. A great tweet from Roosevelt, listening to us out in St. Louis in the USA. Enjoying the commentary all day today. 10 hours of Premier League coverage for you, plus additional games online on our digital partners platforms. And he says, great call, enjoyed the whole day. I've still got no idea what Boxing Day is. It's basically like a shopping holiday. Traditionally, in the Victorian era, people would box up gifts and things they didn't want and give them to the poor. They'd put them in boxes, ergo Boxing Day. There you go. Do you know that, Dave?
I didn't know that. That's good information. You didn't make it up, did you? That's actually true.
If I did,
you've done very well.
I'm not that creative. I wish I was that creative and imaginative. But that is what Boxing Day is, anyway. A Victorian holiday to give gifts to the poor in boxes. There we are. But these days, well, it used to be shopping. Now, just like every other day, it's pretty much sitting in your house.
Yeah.
City, the home side this evening, and they are cruising their way to a 2-0 victory. Clean sheet will be most welcome. Bit of defending to do here. Cross on the right hand side, Federico Fernandez can't find Carroll or Gale, away by Fernandinho, recovered by Schar, loop towards Carroll. Carroll swing and a miss, does pick it up on the sideline. Well, that's a bad challenge from Cancelo on Andy Carroll there. Maybe Cancelo getting one back on Carroll for his elbow on Stones a few minutes ago. Yellow card for Cancelo. Shame for him because he's played well tonight, so one blot on his copybook, but maybe a pat on his back from his manager for that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's seems very out of character and out of context with the game, that tackle. I think you might be right. Maybe there is a bit of revenge for something there.
Free kick, left-hand side. If they are to score here, Newcastle, it will put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons for the last few minutes. Murphy's over it. We know he's got a lovely connection. It's away there by Gundogan at the near post. Recovered by Yedlin. Brought down on the thigh. Given away by Yedlin poorly. City can break here. Sterling caught up in the mud a bit, but they're still going. Crossfield towards De Bruyne was short. One back by Murphy. And Newcastle get away with it there, but you can see Raheem Sterling, the pitch has got boggy on this near side, and he just couldn't get to full pace, and that allowed Newcastle to get back.
Yeah, he was slipping and sliding all over the place. Difficult ball to play, the one he did play crossfield with his right foot.
Well, shame there for Newcastle. Goals change everything, don't they, in games, and if they just could have found Andy Carroll in the air, no one can stop him if he can find the right delivery.
Yeah, he's a handful.
Or an elbowful, that's the case maybe. A faceful. If you're the LB, not the elbower. Is that how it works? Anyway, moving on. Outright to Almiron for Newcastle. Suddenly we've got some attacking verve. Cross towards Carroll, wins the first header. Not the second though, stones away. De Bruyne forward, blocked by Hayden. And in fact Andy Carroll was offside when that ball was whipped into him. It will go back for a free kick to City in their own area. 89 minutes gone. Manchester City 2, Newcastle United 0. Just a reminder to stay with us tomorrow. Another full programme of games for you. Today at 10 hours, tomorrow 10 hours as well. We've got Leeds Burnley from 12 o'clock UK time, so work that out in your time zones. 11:30 UK we're on air. Followed by West Ham against Brighton. Liverpool take on West Bromwich Albion, and then Wolverhampton Wanderers up against Tottenham. So another jam-packed day for you in the Premier League, and we have got 30 games in total across 9 days for you. So if you are a subscriber to Premier League Live and our various broadcast partners, we've got you well covered. If you're out and about or just looking for the best possible Premier League commentary, wherever you're listening, then we've got some good stuff for you in the coming days. A change here for City in the last couple of minutes. 3 have been added on. Phil Foden's come on for a little run out here. Final couple of minutes. He replaces Gundogan, who scored the first goal of the evening in the 15th minute. Ferran Torres with the second in the 55th. Here he is, Phil Foden. Lumped up in the air by Isaac Hayden. Welcome to the game. Cleared upfield by City to Sergio Aguero. Keeper's come out. Darlow beats Aguero again. Carl Darlow, much to Aguero's frustration. Gloves and short sleeves from Sergio Aguero. Classic look from City's all-time record goal scorer.
He does make a big difference to them. I mean, not just in terms of his goals, obviously, but there's so much more of there's more of a willingness about City to go forward early, to cross the ball, knowing that he's there, which isn't always there when his replacement is playing.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with City in the next couple of years when Aguero does decide, whether it's this season or whether he gets another year out of him, what they do in that position.
Yeah, well, there might be might be replaced with another certain Argentinian.
Well, he's older, isn't he? Playing in a mid-table team in Spain.
Yeah, but he's the best player in the world as well. He can get away with it.
Yeah, I think he'll be alright. But they might be looking for a younger replacement. There's talk of Erling Haaland, but as we've seen, the top players in Germany don't always come to England and start. Another terrible game for Timo Werner today. Kai Havertz can't get in the Chelsea team. Sebastian Haller smashed it up in Germany. You know, it's a step up, Bundesliga to Premier League. I don't think that can be questioned.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I'll tell you what, though, if City were to get Haaland and Messi, it's all over.
It's like Rennie and Kitson, eh?
Oh,
perfect combination for a Boxing Day evening. Breaking play here because a little knock here to a Newcastle player in midfield. I think it was Isaac Hayden just wanted a little bit of treatment, and so we had a bit of a break, but we're back underway now. Ake down the line to Sterling. Sends Yedlin for a Boxing Day shot. Gets down the left hand side, challenged by Longstaff. Recovered Manchester City again. No real desire to score again here. Manchester City, truth be told, they haven't had a great deal of desire all second half really to get any more goals. They've got the points on the board. Newcastle now really threatened, and City are going up to 5th in the table. It's just 5 behind the leaders, and tomorrow they'll have a game in hand again. Here's Ederson on his own goal line, fouled by Stones, risky in this weather. There goes the full-time whistle here. Let's quickly get to the Bramble Lane for the full-time whistle there.
Chance for Sheffield United. Ender Stevens down the line this time to Ben Osborne. Infield he goes to Stevens. Back it goes now to Robinson. Out to Osborne. Osborne finds Moussé 24 yards from goal. Goes square. The set's on for Norwood if he fancies a poke. Stands it up. Osborne gets it headed across the face. Hooked away by Mina. Back by Basham to McBurney, who sweeps it goalwards but wide of Pickford's right hand post. And that is it here at Bramall Lane. Everton win by a solitary goal to nil. Chris Wilder's side again winless during the Christmas. They sit firmly planted at the bottom of the table.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed. That one has finished with victory for Everton at Bramall Lane against Sheffield United. Here it's finished 2-0 to Manchester City. Cancelo, edge of the area. Lovely slip to Raheem Sterling. Goal side, Raheem Sterling drags it back. Can he shoot? Still got it. Turned in by Gundogan. Brilliant composure from Raheem Sterling, who could have shot several times, but he just couldn't see the opening, couldn't see the opportunity. He saw Gundogan, who slammed home 1-0.
It's a fabulous pass. It really is. It's a fullback's nightmare. He has to cut back on his left, and he just doesn't fancy the shot. Picks out his teammate.
It away by Ake, then Gundogan. Picked up by Ferran Torres, who's got a pass on here to Kevin De Bruyne, and De Bruyne's goal side is Schar, and he's bearing down on goal. Kevin De Bruyne, and he's hit the goalkeeper. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. Ages to think about it. Should have picked his spot, and he fires it straight at Carl Darlow, who's done well.
If he just concentrates on finishing this, because the first touch is awful because he's looking over to see where his support is. The second touch isn't much better. He takes another look to see who's supporting him. It's like he didn't want to score.
Almiron then gets there before Cancelo, but he's won it back. Cancelo, low cross, blocked by Fernandez into Torres, and that is 2-0 to Manchester City. What a shame for Federico Fernandez, who did what he thought he had to do in the penalty area, needed some help, and what he did was find a direct pass to Ferran Torres, and the makeshift striker does his best Aguero impression and finds the back of the net against Newcastle. 2-0.
Yeah, anywhere but where he ends up clearing this to. In fact, he makes a bit of a mess of it. I think he misses it with his first outstretched leg, and it hits the other one, and it falls perfectly to Torres, and he makes no mistake with a finish.
Yeah, that's the story of it. Manchester City victorious against Newcastle. They climb to 5th in the table, 5 behind the leaders. Liverpool, Everton now up to 2nd following their victory against Sheffield United. Dave Kitson with me. We just heard the full-time whistle there from Andrew Self covering the game between Sheffield United and Everton. Just a quick comment on that before we return briefly to our game. Yet another defeat for Sheffield United. 2 points, minus 18 goal difference. The worst ever start in English football history continues. The worst start of any team at Christmas since, 1903, when Bolton hadn't won a game. I mean, my word, how has it all gone so wrong so quickly for Sheffield United? And is there any way they stay up from here?
Oh, it's going to be really, really tough. It really is. I mean, they're the best part of 4 wins off where they are now, getting out of this, and you can't see where a win's going to come from, let alone 4. It's quite painful to watch, and it's just one of those things where it becomes like a morbid fascination after a while, because you wonder how long it can possibly go on for.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on going. I feel for them, because they're a great club, great bunch of people. I've got many friends there, and it's just a horrible situation.
Thanks to Andrew Self for the commentary at the end of that, which we just dipped into. Of course, our online partners would have heard that whole thing, and welcome to those on that stream who are back with us now. Briefly on our game, Man City. I mean, it was a cruise. We expected it to be a bit of a cruise, but it just felt like something was missing, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just one of those textbook 2-0 wins, and there's nothing really much more to say about it. City, for whatever reason, are not quite as ruthless, this team with Guardiola, as they have been previously. Whether he thinks they're missing a couple of players, obviously Aguero's coming back, he'll get them his fair share of goals, hopefully, if he stays fit. But there is something not quite Man City about them at the moment, and he needs to rectify it, because they are having some chances. De Bruyne had a one-on-one. Cancelo put 4 balls across the box that Aguero would have gobbled up, but it's just not quite clicking, really.
Dave, thank you very much indeed. Dave Kitson with me, Tom Rennie for Man City 2, Newcastle 0. Elsewhere today, it's finished Leicester 2, Man United 2, Aston Villa 3, Crystal Palace 0. Goalless between Fulham and Southampton. Arsenal 3-1 winners against Chelsea. And you heard there Everton winning at Sheffield United by a 1-0. Tomorrow, 4 games for you. Leeds, Burnley, West Ham, Brighton, Liverpool, West Brom, and Wolves against Tottenham, as our 30 games in 9 days across the Christmas period hits top gear. I've been Tom Rennie. Great to have you with us. We are back tomorrow for more of the same. You're listening to Premier League Live.
This Christmas, get all the non-stop Premier League action with a Now TV, Sky Sports or Sports Extra pack. Watch over 40 games this December with the biggest names in the league.
Gets it from Fernandez.
Stream every game or only pay for the ones you want. Your sport on your terms with Now TV. 18 plus ROI only. Month passes sold separately and auto-renew. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Terms apply.
Introducing Guardson Sport. Protect your sporting equipment from COVID-19 for up to 14 days with Guardson Sport disinfectant treatment. Ideal in team sport settings with the sharing of balls, rackets, gloves, helmets, and all other sporting equipment. Guardson Sport kills COVID-19 on impact, keeping surfaces free from COVID-19 and other viruses and bacteria for up to 14 days by creating a protective polymer layer on application. For more information on Guardson Sport and other quality assured, certified and approved PPE, visit yourcovidprotection.com.
Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen.
Let's talk about you looking after your business. Ford, looking after your vehicle. Let's talk hassle-free Ford leasing. Just a fixed monthly payment, no motor tax to deal with, and no maintenance or servicing to pay on selected plans. Get the Ford Ranger Wildtrak from €440 per month. Hassle-free Ford lease. Now we're talking. Search Ford lease or text Ford to 50015 to speak to us about leasing your next vehicle.
Text cost to standard rate. Price quoted is for a Ranger Wildtrak with no maintenance over 4 years with a €1,750 deposit. 15,000 kilometres per annum. Business users only. Price excludes VAT. Ford lease is provided by Marion Fleet Management. Trading as Ford Lease.
123ink.ie for all your home office needs, including printers, ink, toners, paper, label markers, binders, pens, bins, batteries, boxes, chalk, compass, files, memory sticks, highlighters, glue, notepads, Whoa! And we're cheaper than your current supplier. 123ink.ie for home, for office, for less.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Paddy Power gave to me another 12 days of Christmas parody. On the day after Christmas, Paddy Power gave to me on any sport a bet for free. Sorry, what I'm trying to say is Paddy Power giving away a free €5 bet on any sport this St. Stephen's Day. Now that's music to my ears. Merry Christmas from Paddy Power. Online exclusive. New customers must deposit 1 bet per customer. Opt-in required. Excludes in-play markets. T's and C's apply. Need help? Visit gamblingcare.ie.